All right, everybody. Welcome to Worcester Council Theater 3000. What is up? What a week to live in Worcester, everybody. We get extra fireworks. That's right. It's the Turd Centennial starting up this week. Pretty. It'll be fun, I think. I don't know. They've done an excellent job of explaining what is going on, so we'll see. But we got a doozy of a city council meeting ahead of us tonight. Bill is maybe trapped in Lake Quinsigamon. We're not positive where he's at. Brendan went to save him as well. So we'll see when they get here, but none of that matters because we have an incredible guest. If you tuned into our special covers last week, you saw her. Please welcome back Yenny to the show, everybody. Yenny, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot on the agenda tonight. Anything? What are you most looking forward to them doing badly about?
The rental registry is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might be the only landlord in the Mass Landlords Association that is for it. But it was initially brought up by Bergman.
Interesting.
So it's like this weird situation where I don't know how that one's going to go. It got held last time, so this is it coming back with additional information. I do like the proposed ordinance, though I did have a clarification question that I emailed them. Hopefully,
did you get a response?
Well, it was sent earlier today, so okay. I wasn't expecting to hear back in time. But
yeah,
I wouldn't. The other issue, they have a lot on there that is just roll call, even though it's stuff from committees that are all listed as roll call, but I expect there to be conversation on some of them, particularly the drone situation. That's just a mess on its own. But the charter information is also in there.
Oh, okay.
The charter change.
Yeah. So. Interesting. I get a strong feeling that both of those are going to be held. I don't know why. I just feel like no one wants to touch it. Speaking of not touching
I'm also concerned that they're going to just hold a lot of it and go back to the financing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But here he is. Let's bring him in. Bill, are you okay?
Are you safe? Yeah, I'm great. I'm fine.
Well, I know that all your downtime when you're not on this show is spent either writing articles or searching for the poop thing to save it.
Right. Yeah. And my brushes with the poop thing so far have proven, he's not a threat. He's not the threat that people are making him out to be.
No. That's the thing. It's very much a Harry and the Henderson situation. He's misunderstood. We need to help him. Bring him to our living room, let him watch TV and laugh.
Right. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. I appreciate all your hard work, and I just hope that you don't get caught.
One day the world will know the truth. Yeah. One day.
As always, we are brought to you by Crafty Kombucha. Wearing the merch, the only ethical consumption under capitalism. Thank you, Matt, for being our sponsor. Make sure that you're going down to all your little stores, all your little, markets, and wherever you can buy any sort of liquid. They should be selling Crafty Kombucha, and if they don't, then send a drone in there, right in the store. Just see how they react.
I hope we actually talk about the drone thing tonight. I don't know if we're going to, but I hope we.
I think they're gonna hold it.
It's like the new agenda is just going to be talking about everything that was held the last week.
Yes.
So everything on the agenda until items 20 are going to be held, and then we'll deal with items 20. Honestly, the 7 tabled items tonight are a full meeting in and of themselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's crazy, but I just feel like the drone thing, especially because looking at it, it comes down to whatever the mayor decides to do. Like he's like really is the swing vote on this one, and I just can't imagine him coming down in any direction.
Yeah, well, I mean, geez, like what you're gonna try to tell the cops what to do?
Well, that's what I mean, but I also can't see him like taking the political hit on this, especially when Deval Patrick and what's his face Murray are endorsing his opponent. So
yeah, but they're doing the fundraiser in Boston. I do not get that.
That's very weird. That is very weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that whole situation. It seems like maybe Tim Murray and Joe Petty aren't as close as I thought they were. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I guess Joe's going to have to make a political decision on this one, which he's pretty bad at in general for being a politician, and he doesn't have Ed Augustus to turn to anymore to go, Ed, what do I do? What do I do? So we're just gonna have to see.
Yeah, Ed, I hope Franklin Mass is treating you well. I hope it wasn't awkward when you were leaving town when it became clear that you got this offer a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Weirdly orchestrated your exit in a shitty way.
Right. But we gave him a contract to let him do it. And he got to say, I only had to give the council 1 month.
Manager outside of here. Our charter doesn't require the city manager to live in Worcester.
It's true. He can be our manager in exile.
Wow. That's
true. From atop one of the towers at Dean College. Just handing down decrees about the city of Worcester. So yeah, I don't know. But Bill, is there anything that really sticks out to you that you're think might be a controversial or a sleeper hit tonight?
Well, we're gonna see how Donna Colorio feels about youth girls sports, because that's the issue here.
Yes, of course.
The sports, the sanctity of sports. We're gonna get to hear how she feels about that. My headphones stopped working. Do I have an echo without them, or am I good to go?
No, you sound good. You sound
okay.
Totally
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
There's also Colorio on the trans protections.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. So that's 20D, the trans rights, and then the Shot Spotter, which we're going to have to talk about tonight, I think, unless there's a vote to table it again.
Just sent me. There was a story coming out about ShotSpotter somewhere. I think in Columbus, Ohio, they got a ShotSpotter hit on their system, and the police responded to it, and it was a school band playing. So sick system.
So it's so fucking stupid. Yeah, I'm curious to see. The ShotSpotter thing is like, I think it's just informational. I think it's just data that the police is expected to provide the city council. But the report is fucking hilarious. I mean, my God, they don't count the 4th of July, New Year's Eve, or New Year's in the data. Hey, what happens on those days? Oh yeah, fireworks.
I wonder
if you can't count the days with fireworks, does that mean you just can't count Fridays in Worcester? Right?
I mean, can't count this Friday, that's for sure. Because guess what, baby? Gonna be a big one.
Yeah.
They're gonna light off 300 minutes of fireworks to celebrate 300 years of Worcester.
No, really?
Oh, no, it's gonna be. They're doing fireworks for it though.
It's not gonna be 300 minutes though, right?
Yeah. It's gonna feel like it.
Yeah, it always feels like it.
The other thing in the ShotSpotter report is the report from NYU policing. The NYU report that is completely on the privacy aspects of, and was done years ago.
And their conclusions are that it should be more private.
Yeah.
The data should be harder to access, and that the company should become more opaque, less transparent, and that cops should have even less access to the data that they are supposedly using to inform their own decisions. So, but that doesn't matter. None of those concerns matter because the cops want it.
And that report was also pre-Connect existing.
Right. Yeah, and Connect is even worse because it's not only just collecting gunshot data, it's synthesizing all of your crime statistics to dictate where the cops are going to go, and the cops don't have access to the algorithm that synthesizes those.
It's legit. Like it's RoboCop shit. It's 100% RoboCop shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only gonna.
I guess I'm cool with if it gives us a RoboCop.
Yeah, but
he did turn on all the other regular cops if you continue watching the series.
Right, that's true. Yeah. Verhoeven said that the only way out is to develop an AI that in turn becomes more human than American society. That's fucking grim.
It just feels so at hand now.
Yeah, those movies, like especially Starship Troopers, just kept getting truer and truer every year. It's just he was so right in ways that continue to be revealed to us.
Yeah, he deserves more credit.
I really wish we were headed more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Yeah, nope. We're going all Star Wars.
Yep.
No, we're gonna have our Jar Jar Binks that facilitates the rise of Emperor Palpatine, who's gonna run the ship into the fucking ground, baby.
Yeah.
What's funny is I really, really used to like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I was totally a Jar Jar Binks fan until I literally just recently rewatched his stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that he's in. And I'm looking back on it being like, why?
Jar Jar Binks.
Annoying. I like him as a character, but I'm not going to go into Geekland. That's not what we're here for.
I love it. I rewatched those movies over quarantine, and they're so good. They're some of the most like transparently racist movies that have ever been made, and it's fucking awesome. Like, how did they get away with that? 2000 was just like a different fucking time.
It's wild.
Yeah,
it's like it's one of those things where like someone should have stopped him from, because it's like it clearly wasn't an intentional. Like he's not a mean-spirited. Like,
Oh, you want to buy him a slave? It's like, because 16 gold coins.
It's wildly ignorant and wildly privileged. No one said, George, this is not cool. And
no one said, George, the Trade Federation. My God, my God.
Yeah,
that is one of the worst Asian stereotypes I've ever seen in any film.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Have you switched over from finance yet?
I don't think so, but I haven't checked in a second. So they're still in finance, and that's the other thing about this is that this is a jam-packed agenda that would be jam-packed without there being a finance committee before it. But
and King's not there tonight.
King's not going to be there tonight at all.
His daughter's graduating.
Oh dang! Oh, that's a real bummer.
So the drone thing's is done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. We're getting drone, but I mean, we're getting a drone anyway. I wasn't confident that Petty was going to be the swing vote on that either. I think
I didn't think so either. I just thought it would make it a table.
Yeah,
but
well, yes. I mean, someone could still vote to table it, I suppose, but and it also is, by the way, a new item, so it could be held under privilege. I think. Even though the items leading up to it were, it could be. Yeah, I think so.
Somebody get texting, please. Somebody text somebody.
I think they might hold it just purely because of the amount of time that the discussion's going to take. And they're not going to want to have that on top of everything else that's in the meeting.
Right. You know what? I'd be curious to know if the cops already bought the drone.
That's a good question.
Like if it's just been sitting in a box. I had that thought the other day. Or if they've already been taking it out for test spins. Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
And they're like, and then they'll be like, no, that's not the drone. This is like the pre-drone.
Oh my god. I pulled it out on Twitter, but while we're waiting, maybe we should watch the little clip of how Kate Toomey ended the last meeting. The last public safety subcommittee meeting, because that rant is fucking unbelievable. How much she just doesn't even care. How bad she was lying. How bad she was covering for people who were lying. It's fucking amazing.
It's wild. It is so wild.
And that's just more. We're just expecting more of that.
Yeah.
So
with the stories going about how she's gonna run for mayor. So.
Oh yeah, and so we just need to keep making her cry. Oh, I had it confirmed to me that Police Chief Steven Sargent watches this show and he's very mad at it, which is awesome.
He said that we said that he's fucking Kate Toomey, and I just want to be clear, Steve Sargent. We never said that Kate Toomey could get you. We just said that she wanted to fuck you.
Right, which is, I mean, you try to tell me that we're wrong. You can't. You cannot.
Yeah, you're out of your damn mind if you think that she doesn't want to. But I think you do know that. But again, we would never say that you guys are having an affair or that you want to have an affair.
No,
it's all coming from her.
Yeah,
sure.
We're just saying that Kate Toomey would throw it all on the line for that date. That's all we're saying.
That's true. Yeah,
all we're saying.
Yeah.
We never said anything else besides that.
No.
So, one thing that's on the table items tonight that is not getting talked about enough is the parallel school committee and city council districts. Mm-hmm. Short of fixing that problem, we're going to be going into 2023 with 5 city council districts, 6 school committee districts, and even more of a tangled mess for an electorate that already can't be bothered to vote. So
he definitely has the drone guys watching and reporting back to him. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
The worst part that I found about that whole situation was this weekend at the Democratic State Convention. I was speaking to people who are supposedly politically active in Worcester in the Democratic City Party.
Yeah.
And none of them had any idea that the districts were getting changed or needed to get changed or anything. Like they had not heard about the issue.
Our most engaged voters have absolutely no fucking idea that this is happening.
What the fuck, dude? You were supposed to be screaming that from the mountaintops. Instead, you were, getting involved in the AG race.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really think about the convention much. Did anything interesting relative to Worcester come out of it? Or here we go. Yeah, let's listen to Kate Toomey yet again.
I can say it after the clip.
I think to understand that some people were, very upset over something that actually wasn't being said. It was like just not something that was going to happen, and I think folks got very upset about it. And when people started listening, I think they realized that this isn't going to be. I mean, clearly the policy I think was very well written. So thank you.
What does she mean?
I'm going to.
What do you mean, Kate? What are you talking about?
That will be.
I know what you're talking about, and I know you're lying.
And, thank you.
But a normal person listening to that is going to be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Just wild.
It's also that same circular talking, the repeating,
the
pausing and saying the same word over and over again.
Because she wanted to defend the police department so bad, but she couldn't even articulate a defense. It's so good. The drone policy is awesome because it uses the exigent circumstance clause of the privacy measure to say that you can do anything you want with it, basically, with no expectation of privacy. And that is the beautiful policy that Kate Toomey is talking about.
It's sick.
It's awesome. Once the cops do get the drone, though, it's going to be very fun to just fucking house them with records requests every day. of when the drones are being deployed, what they're being deployed for. It's just great.
The in regards to the state convention, one of the things that really shocked me was just how many people were actually complying with stuff like the mask mandate and all of that, except for our wonderful city councilor, Candy Merrill Carlson, who was wearing hers on her wrist.
Oh, she just does what she wants.
Yeah.
It was her
She's just a queen
and
bee.
another guy that was sitting up in the front row near her. And then I saw one person I'm in first Worcester. I saw one person sitting in second Worcester that had their mask off, but I think they were eating at the time. And that was it. Like, everyone else had their masks on other than the candidates. If you do have a chance to watch some of the speeches, Secretary of State candidate Tanisha Sullivan is so amazing and fired up, and her speech was epic. It is definitely like the one to watch if you only have time to watch one. Markey and Warren both gave speeches, so did McGovern. They didn't pull punches, and it was it was an interesting process. It was the first time I'd ever been to the state convention, so there was a runoff for AG, and no one knew like how we were going to be doing the voting for it. The Democratic State Party needs tech help.
Yeah. I really don't know anything about I'll have to look into that.
They canceled the meeting?
On my page, I haven't refreshed it, I guess, in like maybe an hour, but it still says that it's happening on my calendar. Let me try refreshing it. Canceled. Okay. How do you do that? I mean, I literally had it open. I mean, I opened that tab at probably 4 p.m.
Don't they legally have to give 48-hour notice?
Yeah. That's why I'm being very careful to point out that I opened that tab at 4 p.m. ish.
Is the finance meeting already over?
No, probably not.
Let's go. Let's see if there's something going on.
Yeah, I mean, we could. Yeah. What do you mean it's canceled? Let me send a couple text messages here. Try to get
let's find out. I mean, obviously, there's no reason to think that just because it's a law that they'll listen to it, but it's very interesting to see. Okay, all right. So we're back to the newspaper channel.
You have to you have to look it up a different way for a subcommittee. I'll send the link. And that's also great that you do have to look it up a different way for the subcommittee that no one knows how to do, meaning that no one is ever going to watch the subcommittee meetings.
That's how they would like it to be.
Here's the second of 6.
Oh, but that is the subcommittee channel. I'm looking at it right now too.
Worcester Normal School for Future Teachers was located near the current school.
It's still streaming, but that's what it's streaming.
Maybe they took a break.
So I got a response from Thu. Budget went longer, so we're going back soon.
But where did it say canceled? Is that true?
So it just says canceled on the website, but it's not.
I don't know.
It's fucking. That's right. Yeah.
Maybe they're just not going to switch streams.
Well, that the stream isn't. There's no open meeting law about the stream.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, could it be? Well, we'll find out shortly.
Kelly, who died.
No, it's still
the only thing that just came through is who died.
Who died?
I think it's on the public health segment about COVID.
Oh, weird. No, okay.
There's a public health department or whatever is still on the list, so it could be related to that. But
okay, no longer says canceled for me. That was weird. That must have just been a website quirk. Crisis averted, folks. City Councilor Chu Nguyen has a few items on roofies and doing more to crack down on using them at bars. That's going to be an interesting conversation. I haven't seen the City Council talk about that before in my time.
I wonder how against controlling or thinking about this Donna Calorio will be.
Yeah, I think it'll make her reflexively angry, but not as reflexively angry as celebrating Pride Month. Chu Nguyen wants to see a flag raised to commemorate Pride Month, and Donna Calorio will surely hold that, because if you did that, you would be grooming the children.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's hey, listen, you teachers, you better quit frigging grooming these kids and fucking arm up and shoot people for them.
Yeah. Because
we need the SROs back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get the SROs back.
From the crowd on the right.
It's so funny when you point out the fact that Massachusetts has almost the strictest gun laws in the United States and has the second fewest gun deaths and has never had an in-school mass shooting and almost no shootings taking place near or on a school campus. They don't have an answer for that, which is weird. Yes, it is. Yeah. There's been a lot. I don't know. It's anecdotal, obviously. I think a lot of these things are, but I've heard from people that I believe like that it's been a rash of instances lately.
And I'm honestly not surprised by it. I mean, it could even be as simple as they're using different bottles. When I was in college, there was a party that I went to that I dragged all my friends back out of when I noticed they were pouring drinks for women out of one keg and men from a different keg. And
yeah. Yeah, the world's fucked. People are fucked up and they do fucked up things all the time. And if you're serious about trying to protect other people, then there are ways to do it that don't involve, taking away funding from every social program and putting guns in as many hands as possible.
Yeah. But that would be crazy. This is America, after all.
Yeah. Oh, Jack. Don't worry about it.
Nothing happened, Jack.
Yeah.
The rental registry is going to be talked about tonight. It was one of the things held from last week. I think that's generally a good idea. And I don't know why it got held. I don't remember, but we're about that. I don't think they have enough code enforcement people to really do it right, but it's better than what we're doing now for sure.
So it does include hiring 5 additional inspectors.
Right.
But that would literally tie them up 10,000 inspections a year. They estimate that they can do, I think it was either 4.5 or 5.5 inspections a day.
Yeah.
That are 30 minutes or so per unit. And I'm just like, there is way more to inspect than 30 minutes can allow.
Yeah, right.
That's cursory glances in each room and hoping that you catch stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it has good intent. It might need a little tweaking.
I don't know, Yenny, I'm sure you've seen a home inspection before. That seems pretty on par.
Our home inspection, we've got a 3-family. It took about, I think it was like 4.5 hours. and he missed probably about $100,000 to $120,000 worth of damages and things that needed to be repaired.
Yeah. We had actually had a really good inspector that helped us out a lot and caught a few things that could have been huge problems. Like our chimney has an issue, and still there was a lot of things that were became evident extremely quickly after we moved into the house that we're like, oh, cool, thanks, dude. So
ours was not good and retired soon after doing our inspections. So
it's capitalism is a great program.
My building.
I don't think that there Mo Bergman, to your question, I don't think that there is a tree committee yet. I still think I'm the only person that's applied for the tree committee. And
I did.
You did?
Yep.
And have you heard back about it?
I have not heard a single thing back, not even an email response beyond the automated, I filled out the form email.
Listen,
that's
guys,
so awesome. They're just never going to make that.
You got to understand, the Ents work on a different time schedule than we do. They're slow.
Right. They are. They're famously so. Famously so.
It takes them 10 years to say their name. Okay.
Right.
They did. I got a message from Mattel saying they're on break and they're going to go back and they'll be on the city council agendas stream.
All right, cool.
Thanks, Mattel, friend of the show.
Yep. Just kidding. No, she's not.
Uh-oh. No, you made me mad.
No.
Oh my God, Wayne Griffin.
We actually, if you're, like an Eric Batista type figure and you're watching this, we think that Attell is way more to the center politically than we are, and that everything she proposes is very reasonable. And we don't think that she's going far enough. We hate that. We hate how reasonable and centered her positions are. And we really think that she has let the left down with how little she's done. So you shouldn't really have any problem supporting any of the things that she's asking for, because she's actually way, way more center than anyone here, or anyone watching the show.
We want to put it out there that we're incredibly disappointed in Attell. We're incredibly disappointed in two.
Yeah. We think that neither of them have done really done anything, and they've just become part of the McGovern crime family.
True.
And that, if I were city manager Eric Batista and I was considering whose proposals to prioritize, it would make me so mad personally if two Anatel's priorities were given the green light, because they're just too centrist. They make too much sense. And somebody that they're not left enough. No,
somebody that aligns with us, somebody that is just far enough to the left for us. Candy Merrill Carlson. We
love Candy Merrill Carlson, and I think that everything she says is very honest.
Yeah.
And all of the
family.
Yeah. I think that she isn't like the living embodiment of the problems with the labor movement in America.
No.
I think that definitely she or her husband have never done anything illegal. Right. Ed told me that, Joe Petty, too left for her.
Joe Purdy is a new fun one. I think we have to
start. Yeah.
Joe Purdy.
Everything Attell suggests is really just way too center right for me. And that's why I support Candy Merrill Carlson. That's why we made fun of Ed Augustus so much that he took the first job he was offered at Dean College to get out of here. So the reason why Ed Augustus is gone and everyone's sad about that is because of us and our favorite counselors and the ones that we want. Everything that they say, you should definitely do it. Is Kate Toomey, Ed Augustus, Kate Toomey, Kenny Merrill Carlson, Donna Colorio, Mo Bergman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mo Bergman is a friend of the show. He's here.
Look, he comments on it.
Yeah. Mo Bergman's one of our best friends.
Yeah. While we're talking, he comments on it.
I mean, we have Kate Toomey that comes in the chat sometimes too.
Yeah, exactly.
Kate Toomey chimes in. So
at Talon 2, they tried to weasel their way in here and tried to like change the narrative of the show.
Yeah,
and we stopped that. But look who's still here.
No way. We only back real progressives like Kate Toomey.
Exactly. Thank you. See, this is what this is what we support. This is what we're into. So just remember that when it comes time, Eric, whenever you're fully kind of wield your power, that this show specifically
is the reason why Ed Augustus quit.
Yes.
Let's be real. This is the reason why Ed Augustus quit. And if you're looking to punish us, you really can't, right? No. Because we're just on Twitch for free. Can't stop it. Sorry. But you can punish us by being mean to our friends, and our friends are Donna Colorio.
Yeah, Kate. Please don't do that. Please.
No, but please don't do that. I'm just saying that it would hurt if you it would hurt a lot if you were really mean and obstructionist to the agenda of Kate Toomey, Donna Colorio.
And another thing, we hate craft tea kombucha so much, and we would be so mad. We would be livid if you put all the bubblers in City Hall to dispense craft tea kombucha.
Yeah, just a fat and senseless public contract for gallons upon gallons of craft tea kombucha.
I'd be so mad.
I'd be so mad if you did that. It would really get me back for making Ed Augustus go to Dean College.
Yeah,
where he can change from raising rents for a city to raising tuition for a college. It'd be pretty easy for him. A lot of practice.
Something that I'm actually like, I don't see Batista as like, the interactions I've had with him have been fairly positive in the past. Like I've had discussions with him about his management style and things like that, and I do have hope and feel comfortable that he is going to do what the city needs properly, like to operate as a city. I don't necessarily agree with him policy-wise on things in terms of direction for things, but I think that the city will continue to function at least as it has been, if not better, because he does have a management style that he prefers that's different from previous administrations, with a system called Scrum. It's an agile project management methodology that is very much more responsive and rolling and willing to involve change. And change tends to happen a little bit quicker with it. Although it does tend to go like, hi, here are all the problems.
Right.
It ends up working out well and speeding things up in the end.
He's our chief diversity officer, so I really think that's it's a good sign for the city.
His report also, that's going to be on the agenda tonight. I don't know if they're actually going to talk about it, but the chief diversity officer agenda item 10I is a report from Batista where he basically says, yeah, we're going to put somebody in charge of the chief diversity officer thing at some point, but I don't quite know how yet. Please wait. Yeah. So it was a very illuminating read in how little information there was on that.
Sick.
So we'll see how that goes.
Air, just so you're talking a little smack there about Scrum. I'm a certified Scrum
We have
master.
two items that we'll be holding is 20A and 20B.
All right, well, let's have a scrum about it.
Now back to the agenda.
What's this flag?
I think Councilmember Carlson holding those two items.
Correct.
Oh, wow. That is a miserable sight right there.
So now we have an approval of the minutes.
Nice denim.
All in favor?
Denim and leather.
Say
come from
aye.
a
Opposed?
paint
So
sip.
voted. Okay. Next part is public participation. So I'll go to the audience first, and then we'll go to the phones and online.
I didn't catch what item she held. Did anybody?
No.
Your name and city of residence, please.
Hi, my name is Sue Mailman, and I live in Worcester, and I'm also on the school
Nice, Sue.
committee. Counselor Carlson just told me that she was going to hold these items, but I understand I can speak anyways on 20A and 20B.
Yes. Okay.
Clerk, thank you.
B,
And then,
that's
so
parallel school
28,
committee.
20B, and 20D. 20A is about electeds' compensation. I brought this item to the school committee to ask for review of the practice of school committee receiving 50% of the compensation of council. I don't know if that's been a rule for 50 years or 20 years, but it seems to me an issue of fairness and equity. We will have new people running for brand new districts, and it would be important for residents considering a run for to know that council values the work of the school committee. Hopefully the mayor and councilors Toomey and Calorio, as current and former school committee members, will view an update of the policy favorably. 20B as in boy, item about districts. I've attended several MO meetings that were held last year, and I've attended a couple of the more recent meetings being run by the Election Commission. At every single one of these meetings, members of the public have urged the city to follow the lead and adopt the same districts for clarity and simplicity. One counselor commented that it won't be that confusing. How is it that an attitude that any of us can have, voter turnout for local elections is dismal, that hurts our democracy, and I'd encourage council, as the plaintiffs in the case called for, to willingly adopt council districts that mirror the new school committee districts. And the last item is 20D as in David, item about sanctuary laws for trans individuals. I hope that you will adopt Councilor Tu's order to join with other states in the passage of sanctuary laws to ensure trans individuals and their families the right to safety and tranquility. We say we are a welcoming city. We should be, in my opinion, for everyone. Thank you.
That was
Name and
good.
city of residence, please.
Good evening. My name is David Slacken, and I'm a resident of the Colonizer Park neighborhood of Worcester, which rests on unceded land of the Nipmuc people.
Colonizer Park.
First, I'd like to speak on item 11B
Getting
regarding Councillor
spicy.
Toomey's Committee on Public Surveillance supporting the Worcester Police Department's unmanned aircraft system. First and foremost, this is yet another brazen example of this council's attack on privacy and civil liberties of Worcester residents. Adding a UAS to the city's already robust surveillance arsenal of cameras and spot shotter live microphones with vague and poorly researched policy guidelines are a danger to our entire community and especially our most vulnerable unhoused residents. If you've had difficulty following the Worcester Police Department and city's response to privacy concerns related to UAS, you're probably not alone. Chief Sergeant and Deputy Saucier have contradicted and sidestepped their statements like an old couple stumbling through the electric slide on numerous occasions. There are two that stuck with me. On 5/17, Chief Sergeant said drones will be used to identify homeless encampments. On 6/1, Deputy Saucier said there is nothing in there saying we'll be searching for homeless people. On 5/10, Chief Sergeant said that they'd update the policy with language.
I feel like he took your article and just
and this
like
week, Deputy Saucier said they wouldn't update the policy because it would be too restrictive. Adding to the flames of this fire is the current privacy policy surrounding UAS that has a proviso allowing for the drone to be deployed under any extingent or urgent circumstances. As currently written, this policy allows for the drone to be deployed in any situation the Worcester Police Department deems urgent. This is not a policy. This is a lawsuit and legal challenge waiting to happen. Although some city councilors prioritize getting a new toy for the Worcester Police Department over our freedoms and civil liberties, I urge the remainder of this council and City Manager Batista to demand an update to the WPD policy around UAS deployment to explicitly prevent its deployment to search for unhoused people and encampments. I'd also like to quickly comment on items 8A and 10H.
Yeah, right.
8A related to trash cans on 189 Chandler Street. There are currently no public trash cans anywhere on Chandler Street or anywhere on Main Street from Chandler Street to Webster Square. I think that this would be an added value for our community so that we don't have trash in the streets and on our properties. And I'd also like to give a blanket support of
such an old
related to the Chief Sustainability Officer looking for other models to go beyond state's minimum requirements for environmental sustainability. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Pardon me for eating. I didn't get a chance to before the meeting.
Name and city of residence, Tracy?
We do it all the time.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the council. My name is Tracy O'Connell Novick. I live at 135 Olean Street, and I'm a member of the Worcester School Committee. I'm here under that guise, although obviously I don't speak for the entire school committee. Although I will say that I feel somewhat comfortable doing so, as the school committee passed a measure aligned with your item this evening, 20D, unanimously and without further deliberation, because we actually didn't feel that it was necessary. That would be the same item, Madam Chair, that you held under privilege 2 weeks ago without any comment.
Ooh.
Since then, the situation across the country has in fact only gotten worse for trans individuals, and in particular for trans youth, with the latest law being passed into law even just this evening. Louisiana passed a law barring trans
comments off
girls
the chain
from
tonight.
sports, becoming the 18th state in the country to do so. We are in an emergency situation, members of the council. Ohio now actually allows challenges. I would actually prefer not to describe exactly what the challenges are, but I invite you to go look at them. It may give you flashbacks to our discussions around sex ed, let's say. Texas is now barring provision of medical treatment for trans adults. We have two options, Madam Chair.
So
Worcester has a history that is really twofold. One is the city that rose in defense of the former enslaved by sending U.S. Marshal Asa Butman out of the city in 1854 rather than allow him to search for those who had previously been enslaved. We're very proud of that part of the Worcester's history. We hear a little bit less about the part of Worcester's history from 1924 when we hosted the largest gathering of the KKK in the Northeast. Which path are we going to follow, Madam Chair? Pride and progress flags and pins are all very well, but now is the time that we actually need to back them up with action. We're either supporting all of our individuals, both young and old, across the city, or we are not. My challenge for you, councilors, this evening is, what will your choice be? Thank you.
Oh yeah. All right.
That was amazing.
Travis is just gonna reset the stream really quick.
Yeah, it's all right.
Should be all set.
I want to see their comments. Well, I
Sarah,
can't even
and
imagine
about
what
on,
Shay is saying right now.
9:10.
Oh my god, that guy's such a
Quickly,
cock.
I was taking a walk Sunday morning. It was a beautiful morning, 6 a.m. Walking south on Park Avenue. And I looked over to the Park Avenue fire station. And I noticed.
No, this isn't the racist grandpa. This is
Window
the guy who looks just like him.
south.
Yeah, this is George
building
Russell's
was
stunt double.
Wide open. Then noticed two air conditioners and two windows next to them. I really didn't think much of it, Madam Chair, except that this might be an opportunity for insects, birds, other nocturnal animals to get into the station.
What's he talking about?
Until later in the day, the minutes were posted on the agenda, and I fully realized the scope of the issue, not being a professional firefighter and never experiencing that experience. So I just want to thank the administration. I know it's only informational, but thank the administration for thinking on the welfare of the firefighters. Quickly on 12C, I think this is a potential opportunity not only for public safety agencies to look at that RAND toolkit, but also maybe perhaps for the administration to and appropriate agencies to think about looking at some partnerships, private sector partnerships,
I don't know what the fuck this guy's
college
talking.
and university partnerships, nonprofit
I don't think
partnerships
he does.
in respect to some of the issues involved and how we can have risk mitigation in some of these issues. And lastly, unmanned aircraft systems. I thought we had a very good hearing last week at the committee. Citizens had an opportunity to come
Oh, he
in
definitely is.
and both attend
He said it
in
during the
person and remote,
subcommittee meeting that
offer
Kate
their
Toomey asked him to come
opinions.
talk.
I thought the questions were good questions. One of the ones that stand out was about local control. I thought the command staff and the team did an excellent job, along with the attachments in the agenda.
What?
And I just want to say that I fully support, as a citizen, the Worcester Police Department adopting unmanned aircraft systems to move forward as a part of a wider scope of public safety and making our community safer.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Where was the
Anybody else?
mayor at the beginning?
Oh, I just realized I was on mute.
Oh, were you trying to talk? I
Steve,
was wondering what you were doing.
Item 7B.
The Sue Mailman
the
should be
place of
home
Conduit,
baking
Vic Street,
cookies.
Lancaster.
I'm concerned about William
My
Shea's sanity,
question
but
is,
also
that
sad
conduit is
because I
proposed to
know he's
run
only
to
representative
pad on
of.
10 Lancaster.
Oh yeah, he's like.
I was just wondering if that,
people.
was there a property boundary survey done? And if so,
Oh, this is
that
Jeff
the
Goldblum
state
at
will mark in some way. Because it is under my impression right
Hey,
now.
new truck
where the
parked this Friday, huh?
pole and the anchor
Huh?
This motherfucker loves
that will
Elvis
fall into
Costello.
12 Lancaster. So just looking for some clarity on that.
Okay, I think we have a gentleman from National Grid on the line. Maybe in a few minutes we'll get to him, and if you want to stick around for a minute. Okay. Anybody else?
Listen, I'm trying to get a little more
Names
power
of
to my
residents,
tube amp.
My name is Rhonda Hicks, and I'm a resident of Mother Earth.
Thinking about
and I have
Bryan
some
Fender
stuff I have
Fiberlux.
written out.
Original.
And
Let's go,
I'm here to
Wolf.
you now. I am a Cherokee Federal Registered. I am also Katua. I am also Muskogee. I am also Eastern Band. Them are my tribal flags. This one right here, I don't know if anyone knows Cherokee Nation history.
Can you address the?
Flag.
Can you address?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows Cherokee Nation's history, since it's taught in public school on the Trail of Tears. This right here, this black flag. I'm not going to teach anyone, but this black flag.
Yeah, Tracy, like she did the last time, completely ruined Donna Clara's life in a way that Donna Clara will never be able to.
Represent for whatever we're
Can you
talking about.
talk
And
to
right
him?
now, I just got some very bad news, and I'm trying to get through this, okay? But right now, we're talking about children. I had this big speech because there's a degree of separation with me and the Texas shootings, because my friend lost her mother in a Texas drive-through shooting in Killing, Texas in the 80s. So I was going to speak about the children. This is a lot of stuff I was going to speak. Please don't.
You got about a minute. Go
Okay,
ahead.
please let me speak. I'm trying to be nice. I should have did
I'm
what you
trying to be
said.
nice too.
Could I please have extra time, because this is something
It's
that
got to be
I'm
an item
angry
on.
about.
It's got to be an item on the agenda.
It is. It's about
Okay.
diversity.
Okay.
Diversity, which the city
You have a
doesn't
minute. Go
know.
ahead.
Mr. Chair.
Let me tell you something right now.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. This city, I didn't want to do this, but this city did not celebrate Chief Wilma Mann Killer's revealing of the quarter. And I reached out to this city. Fuck you.
Yep. Okay. Next speaker.
Dang.
I don't like.
Please, your clothes off. No, go ahead.
I'm not sure what she was even trying to bring up
No,
there.
she got too mad.
Yeah.
She has some pretty bad stuff going on personal life wise.
Yeah, no. My thing is just
so
like they know her. Here we go. Now
I'm worried about
Matt
that
Wally.
bad news that she was saying. I'm probably going to reach out to her because she and I met.
That's what-
City of Worcester, Mr. Mayor,
Let's
Mr.
listen to
Manager,
the
esteemed
fucking
City
robot talk for a
Council.
minute.
Thank you for, I'm going to wait.
Oh boy. I'm glad Attell went out to talk to her.
Yeah, it looks like two did as well.
Go ahead, Matt.
Speak on 9:15.
You forgot how to talk into a
Here
microphone.
tonight to speak on 915A, a rental registry program. Back in April of 2019,
Matt
I had
Wally,
an order
timing.
asking the commissioner of, at the time, the Commissioner of Inspectional Services to develop a rental registry program, and I'm glad tonight it's being put before you. We know that at least half of the properties in Worcester are occupied by renters, and this program here provides a higher level of accountability to those absentee landlords
individuals who are living in unhealthy, unsafe, and uninhabitable conditions. And when this was first proposed, one of the concerns was the cost of the program. I think Commissioner Spencer has done a great job providing a program that has a very affordable component to it. And I would like to add, right now, the model is very reactionary. David Horn, Amanda Wilson do a fantastic job, but until we create a program that's proactive, we're not going to see success in dealing with absentee landlords and dealing with properties that aren't habitable. And I would like to add, as strongly as I felt about this program 3 years ago, I even feel strongly now for the ever increasing threat to public safety. So I would ask this council to look at the program tonight and please do what you can to support it. Thank you.
Listen, I don't want them to be anyone to be unsafe. I just don't want them to be able to go to the beach. That's
right.
all.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a few.
And his is about the public safety side of things, not the renters.
Via cell phone
Yeah,
or electronic device, you can please raise your hand. And
I'm not even calling in. I'm
Bruce
just.
Hoffner.
I sent them all my comments earlier.
Mr. Hoffner?
What drives me crazy about the way that Joe treats Wolfpaw is that he gives so many allowances for so many other people.
Yeah.
And if you just let her look,
this is a tough act to follow. I'd like to speak about the drones.
It doesn't hurt anybody, but
so I'm in favor of the drones.
And this happens.
And I'd just like to sum it up.
Have a
with
little compassion.
Short things. We
This is
spent
the guy from
99 million. And I mean,
yeah, I think
personally, I'd be ashamed.
I think they do need to have a little bit more sensitivity because for her, I'm pretty sure there's mental disability related to it as well. And
dangerous place.
It is very difficult to deal with that within the current rules if you have 2 minutes. And it's up to the person in the big chair to allow it to extend, and he's not being great about that. Although tonight she did get pretty.
No, for sure. But it was also one of those things where like she was copping to the fact that she was upset, and he could have just let her talk for a little bit longer.
Less than 75 miles away, Worcester comes in as one of the most dangerous places.
Yeah, the 1 minute warning is.
Yeah,
and we're having
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
this has been what, the 8th time that we've had this debate.
Yeah, this is the same guy. He lives in Milford, New Hampshire.
His name is Papa Drone.
Motorcycle gangs.
Yeah, this is the person that Kate to me like
motorcycle gangs.
All it takes is to recover.
Kate told me that this guy speak for 8 minutes interrupted at the uninterrupted at the.
You have events at this polar park.
He like none of it was related to
there's fights breaking out there. I mean, you have school shootings down in Texas, and we're worried.
You could have sent your drone down to Texas.
The police department's not.
It might have gotten there before the police went in.
What if you have a catastrophic?
This guy fucking is like.
Chemical
Don't even listen to him. He's so. Also, watch that he's going to get right up on 2 minutes, and Joe Petty's not. This guy.
Worcester needs this. The towns in places that have had drones, they track down Grand Theft Auto. I mean, look at what they had Lamborghinis and such
Okay.
in Worcester.
Bruce, can you wrap up your comments, please?
Oh wow. Okay.
It's been well over 2 minutes, but
yeah.
You seriously need to take a good look at this and say, this is not worth not having. You need to go forward with this.
Does he like own a drone store? I can't understand what his fuck like.
No, but there was some raw animal sexual chemistry between him and
I
Kate.
really think these people are
For sure.
embarrassed
Thank you,
by
Mr.
not
Hoffner.
just taking this on.
Thank you. We appreciate the comments.
This was the guy who came down from New Hampshire, right?
That was just mentioned about
being
he's, I think we're probably in the top 60.
Yes, that's New Hampshire guy. Go for New Hampshire, Kevin or Bruce or whatever it is.
Mr. Chairman,
His name's Bruce. His family owns property in the city. I'm from Milford, New Hampshire. And I gotta say, coming down in here from New Hampshire, God, it's like a wild west around here. Tell you what, God, I can't even believe it. The crime rate around here. Oh my God.
Hello.
Yeah, that guy can just.
Yes, we can. That's your
Hi,
name.
my name is. Emma Narkowitz. I'm a city of Worcester. I'm a resident of the city of Worcester, not New Hampshire. I use she, her pronouns. I'm calling tonight to speak about agenda items 12F, 20D, and 11B. It's Pride Month, and as much as corporations and some leaders today don't like to acknowledge, 53 years ago, it was illegal to be gay, and members of the queer and trans community were beaten and arrested, and leaders like yourselves allowed that to happen, made it policy and law. And today, there are policies and laws that continue to attack the queer and trans communities. It really should be a no-brainer. This is like the bare minimum to acknowledge and accept people in our community who are being persecuted. Last year, the CDC found that 25% of LGBTQ youth try to take their lives, because that is how inhumane and horrible our society has been to these youth. And so Trans Lives Matter, the people that fought for the rights I have today were primarily trans and Black folks, and these are people that continue to be persecuted by police today and society. I would note that as recently as 2019, LGBTQ individuals were 120% more likely to become unhoused in our country. And that leads me into 11B, the portrayal of concerns from citizens about the use of drones to identify and displace homeless encampments has been dismissed as foolish or hysterical. But on April 5th, Chief Sergeant put in writing a paragraph about using the drones to identify encampments. The reason why we think that they are going to be used to identify homeless encampments is because he said so in writing that was submitted to the public record.
Whoever's got it up on their screen.
Identified last year. And what's not in the report is that on those unsheltered sites where majority broken
I couldn't
up,
grab it. Sorry, Trav. I would have paid you.
Against their will, and their items were thrown away. So I have grave concerns that are founded in fact and reality and policy. This is not a good policy.
Can you wrap up your comments, please?
Yes. I implore that you not only support queer and trans people, but that you stand against and oppose this drone policy as written. It's not a good policy. Exigent circumstances is not proper protection of our rights, and we need to do better. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the next speaker identifies Emiliano Falcone Morano.
I love all these people just spitting facts back at the city council. They're just being like,
and Toomey's still gonna be like, well, we got a lot of support last week. We had 2 people and almost 2 calls. So.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Emiliano Falcone Morano. I live in Boston, and on behalf of the city of Massachusetts, I'm here today to provide comments about items 11B and 17A through E about the draft of the unmanned aircraft system policy provided by the Worcester Police Department. As I said in my previous testimony, the ACLU has significant concerns about police use of drones, and we believe that such use should be subject to strict policies. The last time I spoke, there was no policy. Now we have a draft of policy, and for the reasons I will explain, we recommend that the city council urge the city manager not to approve the use of this technology until this draft policy is substantially changed to incorporate strong civil rights and civil liberty protections. We basically identified 5 main problems with the draft policy. The first one is section 6 of the draft, requires that police obtain a warrant or a court order to use a drone in a criminal investigation to intentionally surveil a place where a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Number 1, the thing that I said, actually conservative. Thank you. I don't feel like I'm less fucking crazy.
The first one is that the policy limits those situations in which police must obtain a court order or warrant to those in which the police intentionally conduct surveillance. The intent of the officers here is irrelevant. The language should be changed to ensure that if the police plan to use a drone to conduct surveillance pursuant to a criminal or intelligence investigation, they must obtain a warrant first, disregarding their intention. Second, the policy should specify that the warrant or the court order must be issued only after the police have demonstrated that they have probable cause to believe the use of the drone will produce evidence of a crime. Third, the exigent circumstances are far too broadly defined. For example, the policy mentions a crime scene as an example of exigent circumstances when not all crime scenes posit exigent circumstances. So we believe that the language of this section should be narrowed and limit the cases to those situations where it would be impracticable to obtain a warrant. Second, we have section 9.4 of the draft that forbids collection, use, retention, or dissemination of data solely for the purpose of monitoring activities protected by the U.S. Constitution, such as First Amendment protections. Here, the use of the word solely leaves open the possibility that drone footage can be used and shared in a broad range of situations related to a person's protected speech, as long as one additional factor is involved. For example, police could use a drone to surveil a Black Lives Matter protest and share the footage with other police departments or even federal agencies, as long as the police suspected one or more people in the crowd of a crime as minor as trespassing or disturbing the peace.
Could you wrap up your comments too, please?
Sorry?
This is
No,
so
wrap up your comments, please.
Then we have also, I will defer to my written testimony that I submitted earlier today to all the city councilors and city manager, but we believe that this policy has to be strengthened, should address the critical issue of data sharing, should include a section stipulating both the permissible and the prohibited purposes of the use of drones, and among the prohibited purposes should be the tracking of homeless people. The policy should also include the principle of data minimization.
Thank you.
An exclusionary rule. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's good. That's good that the ACLU is on
Mr.
this.
Chairman, we have 2 more calling users.
Confirmation that I'm not being
Bryan
That was
Alfred.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to mute
I mean,
you.
I'm glad that he specifically said the exigent circumstances thing, because that is fucking bananas. It lets them use a drone whenever they fucking want.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. My name is Bronwyn Alfred. I'm a Worcester resident, and I wanted to make public comment on 3 of the orders on the agenda tonight. Firstly, I support Order 12F, the request to raise a flag in honor and recognition of June as Pride Month, and I support item 20B, the resolution to call upon the Commonwealth to pass so-called sanctuary laws. The reasons for these are manifold, self-evident, and already articulated powerfully by many other before me tonight, so I'm going to keep that one brief. I also wanted to object to the chairman's resolution 11B, the Public Safety Committee's support of the unmanned aircraft system proposal, the drones, unless language is changed to exclude the use to find unhoused people and encampments, and unless limitations on the exigent circumstances are included in order to protect community members' privacy, which I agree with the gentleman from the ACLU, I feel is left unreasonably unprotected in the policy as it is currently written. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eileen,
Mr. Chairman, I think we have 1 more calling user.
how are drones going to take drugs off the streets?
We got to take drugs off of our neighborhoods. They're on top of our neighborhoods, and we have to take them off with the drone.
Well, that they're on top of the
My name
buildings.
is Samantha
We
Freed,
got to
City
find
We
them.
heard.
First, I'd like to briefly express emphatic
Oh,
support
boy.
for item 20D about sanctuary laws for trans individuals. Now, my comments this evening are mainly directed toward item 20E, but are broadly applicable also to items 11B and 17A through E. I'm afraid that the NYU policing project report limits our conversation to privacy, which I think distracts from the 2 most important questions at hand when considering expensive purchases. 1, do ShotSpotter products work? Do they actually keep communities safe? And 2, can they prevent harm from occurring in our communities rather than simply pointing out that the harm has occurred? The gunshot detection system can only identify gunshots after they've occurred, so it's not automatically preventative. And the Worcester numbers at the beginning of attachment 20E indicate that this is so, as gunfire has only increased since the inception of the program in 2017. The issue of prevention is even more significant when it comes to ShotSpotter Connect's algorithm, which deploys officers to places where crimes have happened in the past, which isn't necessarily indicative of where crimes will happen in the future and can lead to over-policing. The algorithm also isn't preventative in that it doesn't get to the heart of why harms occur in the first place: a lack of financial resources, food insecurity, lack of safe and affordable housing. Some of you may have seen the episode of Silicon
Which is
Valley
it? I
where
mean,
actor Jimmy
Those
Bojangles
homeless camp drugs are coded in these camps.
Are the drugs in the homeless camps, or are they on our
At the
neighborhoods?
risk of being that person who explains the joke to you, what makes the episode funny is that expensive, magical seeming technology can be silly and completely ineffective. if we're concerned that there are too many hot dogs in Worcester and not enough healthy food
I'll
options,
show your hat.
an algorithm that tells us whether something is a hot dog or not, or tells us where hot dogs tend to be served, isn't going to promote conversations about how to bring healthy food options to our communities or make it such that folks who can't afford to buy fruits
Really
and
good
vegetables
Incredible analogy, but I will not take this hot dog slander.
hot dog stands, but the hot dogs will still be there and will still be more affordable than the salads in the short term, but not in the long term. And in
Speaking of
case
hot
it isn't
dogs, Thursday
abundantly
night at
clear
Coney Island,
already,
everybody,
salads
our
equal real
variety
safety
show hot dog
measures
returns.
that sustainably
Thanks for the
protect
free promo,
communities.
lady.
So to close, expensive algorithms and sensors and drones, mind you, aren't going to prevent harms from happening. They will continue to occur and we will be out millions of dollars. We'd be better off spending money on education to support affordable housing and to prop up community-led programs and spaces that have been shown to create upward mobility and safety and that would make life in Worcester safe and secure for everyone.
Thank
and
you.
I think that's what we all want. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes virtual public participation.
Okay, now time to hear the dumbest shit we've ever heard in our life. For 3 hours.
So we have hearings and orders, and we have is the person from National Grid on the line?
It makes sense that they take that first.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I think
sir, I'm here.
Thomas Carley is from National Grid Online.
Who is? Tom, we have a gentleman here who's asking regarding
Yeah,
Lancaster.
very
District.
true. Very true. That happens all the time with public comment.
I guess where you're going to dig. I guess is that the question?
wait, this makes sense,
So
though.
I'll
It's
ask
not
him
gonna
to repeat
work
the
for
question. So
Yeah, so the
Annie, are you talking to one of your dozens of outlaw
at
dogs?
Lancaster and Pole and Anchor.
Well, I only
I'm
have
just
one
wondering
dog.
If I can get clarification on that boundary line,
But
because
yes,
it's my
I was.
understanding that where it's marked out is actually on 12 land.
And he only has one dog, and Kate Toomey is my favorite city councilor. By way of a city councilor who I'm aligned with. There's Kate Toomey. She's my favorite.
Yes, and there's also spray paint of where the transformer was going.
Okay, yeah, so those are there. So the only knowledge I have of actual property lines is when when this job first came in, I met with the electrician.
I'm
and the
still
owner
waiting
of
on hearing back from the
Lancaster.
city on the
And you
whole
have, like, those
changing
two
that
walls
ordinance.
Back to back, and then that little grass.
I gotta
strip.
check whether or not it's been 90
I was
days
under
yet.
the impression that was 10
Wait,
days.
which ordinance?
The changing how many dogs.
Yeah, that's my contention.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I believe.
So that there's
I
at
don't
least
have
an
that,
answer for dogs 3 and 4, and that it's not just up in the wind.
Okay.
Right.
So,
That will probably take you years, honestly.
I think that would be on the
Well,
owner.
they're supposed to
And then
respond
potentially
within 90 days, so.
that person already signed.
Granted, there's
you know,
stuff from
giving
last
us
year
rights
that
to
I was
put that
finding
stuff
that I'm
there.
just
So
like,
he or she, I
wait, we
forget,
didn't get the info on that.
who the owner actually is. I know
It's real
she
shame
deals
too,
with
because
the
I really want to
electrician
buy a goat, but I have no hope of ever getting an ordinance change on that.
and it'll
So
probably be at their expense to get the
you can't even
property
get an
line,
extra dog, then
actually marked out by
Yeah, goat's not happening.
there's no way I'm
Maybe
getting
the chickens.
Yeah, if I
a
could just get
giant black
clarification before
horned goat
start
like
digging,
Black
that would be
Phillip from The
great.
Witch
can you give
to
maybe
destroy my enemies.
You want to give your name? Go, Tom.
This is Steve O'Leary. Own 4 Dick Street and the additional 12.
Motherfucker doxed himself.
Such an unfortunate street name.
Okay.
Hold it. Can we, Tom? I think we're going to hold this to next week until you can talk to Mr. Leary and
Just doesn't want a cow.
clerk if you'd like.
I also want a
Give your
cow.
name.
Wow, having a cow would be awesome.
So we'll hold this for
It'd be
next
so
week
sick.
and go from there.
Ooh, look who's here! Hey,
Look who's here. What's up?
Motion now
Read it.
is to
What did I miss?
approve.
Oh,
Well,
Public comment.
Public
Yeah.
comment was awesome.
Second is
Actually, it
to
was actually
7A.
awesome.
Yeah.
Tracy Novick, Sue Mailman, eviscerated Donna Colorio before she even got the chance to
Opposed,
defend
the motion
herself
is to adopt.
on the
And
trans
7B,
rights
the
issue.
motion will-
And then,
will
like,
vote on the privilege.
so many people
So,
called
all
in
in
to
favor
say the
is
cops
7A.
were lying about the drone thing, and
including the ACLU.
Opposed to
called
hearing.
in to say the
Those in
policy is
favor, opposed to
bullshit,
void.
and has like no
Right.
civil liberty protections whatsoever. But we did miss what items are being held this week, so we don't know if they're going to talk about the drone.
It was 20A and B, I believe.
Okay.
Agenda.
That was it.
The first
Yeah.
one is
Okay.
He said 2 items.
A, refer to Public Works. So
Yeah,
opposed to order.
Gloria
B,
was in the
C, refer to
mayor's
planning
seat.
board.
for
8D,
like,
Oh, yeah, it
10
was very
minutes.
scary.
Works Committee, 8G to 810.
So she was in the chair when Sue Mailman and Novik were
And that brings us to
reading her the riot act.
Yeah.
It was
9.3.
great.
And Joe was exceptionally unkind to Wolfpaw. Which was
Yeah, and it
pretty
caused
lovely.
a little freak
9.3A
out.
on a roll call, or is it roll call?
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
Councilor Caloria?
Yeah, she did go crazy.
Councilor King? Councilor Morrow Carlson?
Yes.
Councilor Nian?
Yes.
Councilor Rivera?
Yes.
Councilor Rose? Councilor Russell?
Yes.
Wait, is Shaun not there either?
And Mayor Petty?
Yes.
Apparently.
D, motions to advertise the proposed
It's
ordinance.
graduation
Roll
for
call.
Doherty tonight.
That's right.
Councilor
So
Bergman?
Yes.
that's where
Councilor
King
Caloria?
is. I just don't know
Councilor
where.
Jay?
Yes.
Councilor Morrow
I
Carlson?
guess maybe Shaun would be there.
Leanne?
Just
Yeah.
another
Rivera?
nail in the coffin of this drone thing.
Councilor Russell?
Yes.
I mean, I guess
Councilor
Shaun
Toomey?
would probably be
Yes.
as up in the
Mayor
air
Petty?
as the mayor.
Yes.
No, same number of
Next item is
tattoos,
9.10A.
less sleeves is all.
Because of information communication about the station electrification of the EF source heat pumps. You just file that, or what, the committee, or Council Hadjian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to make a comment how
Sure.
exciting this is. I had to read it twice. Super excited that our firefighters have the ability to breathe good air. It's really exciting to see such a big department envelop and embed equity, environmental justice goals. Using heat air pumps is what we should be doing in all new developments, and the fire department is setting an excellent example. So I gave them a big shout out on Twitter.
That would make sense.
Because I think that this is
Yeah,
really
so that's
awesome and
who.
very
So that's Sean's not here and Christian's not here.
kudos to them
Yeah.
and kudos to
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't show up to the Doherty graduation, then he'd probably, take more hits about not caring about half his district. And
Right.
Well, by the same thing, you could say Attell should be there as well, because technically it is in 5, not 1.
It's true.
It's possible that Shaun might actually have a child graduating tonight
Yeah,
as well.
I think he might.
Also true.
20F, Councilor Russell.
Mr. Chairman, would that be economic development or would it be municipal operations? It's a department.
Dude, Colonel fucking Sanders. Let's go.
Jeez. Yeah. Wow.
No. I'm testing out my new outfit for Growing with George, the new show I'm doing with Bill Shader on Community Access, cable television.
No.
This man on Hot Wings.
Collaborative development committee meeting then.
God,
So
he's
that
so
20F
good. George
to
Russell is amazing.
D.
I love him.
Those in favor, opposed, so
Insane.
He's
Wait,
one of the
what
most
was that?
classically
That was
Worcester
20
guys.
something.
Okay, finance items 9.36A,
Oh, it's the-
9.37.
It was just the finance items.
To C,
Yeah.
3A through G.
Shame if somebody brought a Boynton bucket down to
Roll
the
call.
chamber.
On a roll call. Roll
Just
call.
whipped it over the fence.
Bergman?
Yes.
Dropped it from the gallery.
GA?
Yes.
Councilor Morrow Carlson? Councilor Nian?
Matthew,
Yes.
thank you for continuing to slaughter souls
Councilor
in the
Russell?
Facebook comments. That's
Toomey?
Yeah,
Now we're
work
at
over there.
chairman's order
right.
now.
Just letting it rip.
Okay,
It's awesome.
chairman's orders 10.8 to 10.L. Motion is adopted. All those in favor, opposed. so
Turns out you
supported.
can explain security theater for 20 years
11A.
straight and nobody will.
To 11B. Motion is to approve as stated. Oh, we need a roll call on those, right? Roll call.
So that's
Councilor
the
Bergman?
hunger-free
Yes.
campus and
Councilor
unmanned
Caloria?
aircraft systems, if I'm not mistaken.
Councilor
Sorry,
Hadjian.
No,
apologize,
that's
I missed that. Are we
10
on,
was the
11A
chairman's
and
order.
11B?
11 is
Yes.
the drone.
Sorry, I-
11A and
No, they're
11B.
talking about 11A and B right now.
Oh,
I would like to speak on 11B.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
He was just going to go right into roll call on it.
I've heard the chief this afternoon.
Cabling
during
underprivileged,
budget,
Attell.
talk about the fact that the drone is going to be used for identifying homeless encampments. Something that really troubles me a lot.
Kate's
Doesn't sit well
freaking
with
out,
me
yeah.
that we had robust discussion on this issue. So I would like to go back and review a few quotes from two
Wow, those
national
subtitles are
organizations
really
that
out of sync.
testified on this, as well as a local organization.
Oh, goodness.
Department called and testified on this. And so one quote that particularly stood out to me
that he talked about is sending a drone with a camera and a blinking red light that people know will lead to a law enforcement-based team being sent out will only cause people to become more distrustful and reluctant to engage with city workers, quite possibly leading them to camp in more isolated and dangerous areas, diminishing rather than enhancing public safety. Again, this is a national organization that lives and breathes policy regarding homelessness prevention. I will follow with clinical director at the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council, Dr. Courtney Platts. And again, this is the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council. Again, folks that have national and statewide recognition and work, live and breathe policy regarding homeless individuals and unhoused people. What Dr. Platson shared with us is the following. It takes significant time to build trust with people sleeping outdoors, and each time a service and relationship is disconnected, that creates harm, immediate harm, and often that trust building must start over. Multidisciplinary outreach teams are effective outreach strategies that are necessary to meet people's most urgent needs while individuals are waiting for housing. These services include medical care, harm reduction services,
today, Mo?
mental health care, and treatment for substance use disorders. And I'm going to follow with AIDS Project Worcester, which is one of our local organizations that does outreach directly to folks experiencing.
Well, when she opened, Attell mentioned that they brought up searching for encampments again at the budget hearing.
At the budget hearing, the last.
They said the homeless residents of the city of Worcester.
I thought she said today, but I didn't know there was one today.
There was one today. The one she was talking about was last month.
Okay.
Budget,
it says resulted in diminished trust by law enforcement. By employing the use of drones, the homeless population would further lose trust in the police, as they now will feel as though they need further protection from displacement. Is this the message we want to send? Is this the message that we want to send? Because I feel extremely uneasy about the overall changing story of what these drones will do. We started with search and rescue. We ended with identifying homeless encampments. I can't get the story straight. But what's most concerning about this is that we are not clear yet on how this is going to affect people that are most vulnerable. I will repeat what I said at one of my last meetings. I am not comfortable, neither will I put my support behind a policy that will have unintended consequences for people that have more to lose, for people that are in more vulnerable positions than any of us in this room. I spoke with Commissioner of HHS, Dr. Castillo, who doesn't support this use. I have talked to providers on the ground who do not support this use. Over and over and over again, we have said that this policy needs to make it explicit that this drone will not get used in conjunction with Quality of Life Task Force.
Yes.
What I heard from the chief today, what I heard in the Public Safety Committee is an unwillingness to put that in writing. I am willing to work with people. We have people on the ground that provide certain expertise. There's people on this council who have expertise and experience writing public policy, looking at public policy, and working with the unhoused population. I really don't know. I feel exasperated at this point because I really don't know how else to ask. If you need me to beg you, please do not use this drone in any shape or form with Quality of Life Task Force. We have other means to help people. Our people on the ground know where homeless encampments are. We do not need a drone flying over people's heads. I don't know how else to interpret this policy other than how I am saying it. My lasting comment will be, we heard from the SELU here today, testifying again in support of
a sane voice in a mad fucking world.
With the city manager
to really hate.
Come up with a policy
We hate her, yeah, and
I really
she's
hope,
not left enough for us.
that you will take our offer.
You should agree with her
in the
because she's
policy a special clause that explicitly states this will not get used.
I feel like
for
Kate is
identifying
yelling
homeless
over on the other side there.
Thank you, Councilor Russell.
Kate's just like, but the deputy chief said they weren't going to do that.
And,
Look, she's
to
pissed.
the manager, Mr. Manager, whose policy is this? Is it the city of Worcester's policy set by the city council?
What a dumb fucking question, George Russell.
Or administration's policy? Is it the police department's policy? Whose policy is this? And who has the authority?
God, I fucking hate George Russell.
Mr. Manager.
To the chair, to the council. My understanding on the on the authority of the use of the policy.
My boys need their boys.
For the operational use of the drone system. So it's an administration policy that was created, provided to the council, for the council to provide some feedback, and any feedback or edits related to that. That was clearly stated in the executive order that we wanted to provide these information to the council for the council's feedback and ability to either support or not support the current operational policy.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, to the manager, just to be clear, so this is your administration's policy and you said it?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, then I would move a recommendation to the city manager in the form of a motion, because when a few weeks ago, and I had this conversation during the budget hearing.
I agree,
A few
Jack.
weeks ago, when the chief was here at the microphone, I asked the direct question: is it going to be used? Is the drone going to be used? To basically to follow or to surveil unhoused individuals.
Yeah, you did.
Response I got that night was no, it would not be, and that there would be no problem in putting it in the policy. Now, the response that we're getting from the committee hearing and the conversation that the chief gave us,
I'm glad he's pointing out the lie.
Earlier this evening was different, but I don't really believe it was that different, quite frankly.
Oh, maybe not.
I think it was just clarification that it's not going to be used, and this is what I'm hoping for, is that it's not going to be used in the manner that some of my colleagues are afraid of, quite frankly.
What
it's going to be used in a way that
they need somebody needs to hold this
item. It might be a
so put it in the fucking policy.
Send it to the Human Rights Commission.
Unhoused folks, especially
because
if you're so proud,
already voted and said we want to see this.
Oh, George Russell, you were so close for a second there. You fucking idiot.
And I want.
If you're so proud of those 11 herbs and spices, you just put them in writing, pal.
Information is coming back and forth, and the lack of the clarity or the lack of being specific is making it hard for me as a counselor to support this, even though it's not our policy, it's not the city council's policy, it's not in our purview to order it.
Yes, it is.
It's an administrative thing, but I will put in the form of a motion that the manager clarifies the policy and to have it reflect what the chief told us this afternoon, which it will be used only in an emergency situation to save the life, basically, of folks that may be unhoused. But other than that, it wouldn't be used for the policy of just surveillance of unhoused people. Is there any problem with doing that, Mr. Manager?
No, and actually, Deputy Saucier is here who can further explain the language and the interpretation of that current situation.
I appreciate that, and I respect the chief and the whole command staff, but that's why I asked the question in the beginning. And I'm looking for some clear direction, and I'm not looking to micromanage the police department. These guys and gals in the police department know a lot more about this stuff than I do, and probably anybody in this room does. And I respect them, and I trust their judgment. But I think that when we're having a conversation on this floor, and
Eric's kids probably know more about drones than the Worcester Police Department.
And it's not clear. It needs to be clarified. And if it's an administrative thing, it's up to the administration, meaning our manager, to just clarify it, put it in writing, give it to the department.
However it gets put into writing that they're not going to use this to find homeless encampments, I'm fine. Oh, here we go.
Can I throw the desk?
It's funny to see already how not deferential they're being.
If we look at the policy, page 2, under procedures, all deployments of UAS must be specifically authorized by the officer in charge or UAS supervisor. The Worcester Police Department has adopted the uses of the UAS to provide an aerial perspective responding to emergency situation, and exigent circumstances, and for the following objectives. Nowhere in these 6 objectives does it say anything.
You list finding homeless encampments as a search and rescue mission. That is an exigent circumstance. You are a lying fucking pig. Shut the fuck up. God, I'm getting so fucking pissed off at this.
CIT.
Shut the fuck up. God damn it, dude! Like he's just lying to them.
Yeah.
For obtaining this
They want him to, though.
Again, right in the policy, black and white. Situational awareness to assist incident command in understanding the nature, scale, and scope of an incident, or for planning.
I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. I am gonna go insane on this one.
Search and rescue.
This is the one that gets me.
Missing person investigations. All persons, all citizens of Worcester, anybody visiting Worcester. Amber alerts, other search and rescue missions, tactical deployment.
You just skipped over the part of search and rescue where it says you're going to use it to help the quality of life team find homeless encampments. You didn't even fucking say the thing that everyone's fucking concerned about. This is fucking pathetic. This is so fucking pathetic.
Security. And also number 5, for scene documentation. If you go to page 6,
God,
under restrictions, what the ACLU was saying is in here. I'm not sure if everybody's reading this document. All these.
Yes, we are.
We have read the document. The document sucks, dude. The document sucks.
Identify encampments, as I said Wednesday during a public safety meeting. I said if we were requested by the fire department to fly a mission over the high intention lines.
That is rescue, not homelessness.
Fire going in a specific direction, determined by wind. We would want to put this device up to save people's lives. That's all we're trying to do here. This isn't about homelessness.
That's not the use case we're talking about.
Nothing. And everybody's hopping on this homeless. Again,
it's in the fucking report.
Look at the restrictions. It will not be operated in unsafe manner. It will not be equipped with any weapons. It will not be utilized in any.
Dude, this guy is such a fucking dumbass.
Applicable civil rights.
This guy is such a fucking dumbass. What are we supposed to do with this?
With all statutes, rules, regulations, and case law regarding these issues. It shall be the responsibility of the UAS unit leader to ensure this effort. Recorded data. And again, when a mission is being flown, that does not mean that as soon as it goes up in the air, it's recording things. Everybody has to take a step back.
He has not even addressed the stated purpose of this, to use kidnapping technology to find homeless. In fact, consciously skipped over it.
That's what this is for, to assist the elderly. To assist
even my dog's upset by this.
Missing children, to assist in tactical decision-making so that we can make informed decisions. We could stream a barricaded situation to our command post where commanders can actually watch and make informed decisions by being aware.
That is not what we are talking about.
We are not trying to use this as a tool against homeless people. And
Why
again,
did you say it in your report? Why is it still allowed for in your policy?
For clarifying that.
You didn't clarify anything.
Exactly, Tara.
I'm thinking to myself, and again, this is, like I said a few minutes ago, I want to support this. And I wanted to support this from the beginning. But, you know, when you think about it, looking back to when we lost the 6 firefighters, you know, because of the homeless folks that were in that building. And wouldn't it be something if we had a tool like this at that time?
What would the drone have done?
The drone literally would have done nothing.
The brick fucking box.
Instead of sending personnel in there.
And in a fire, you can use the heat mapping technology to find bodies.
I'm getting at about a life-saving situation. But I think it's also important that we send a message to the community that sometimes these subjects become, they kind of have a life of their own or legs of their own out in the community. And it's important that we have a clear, precise message of what we're doing and what we're not doing. And I think that's what we need to make sure here. And if you're standing at the microphone, Chief, and telling me that that's already there in writing, then I'm good with it. I'm happy about it, but I didn't think it was.
And if I could say one more thing.
It's not. It's not. It's not. He's lying to you.
Everything we do with that drone, where it's going, flight time, a flight plan.
Oh my God.
That would be made public. There's going to be annual reports to the
Oh,
public.
annual reports. That's great. Yeah.
Means that
It's
this
very,
week
very
now,
public.
the Worcester
One thing
Police
on
Department has
that
to
side,
use the sheriff's
at the public
department
safety meeting,
drone
he made it clear that they weren't necessarily going to go with the Matrix 30 drone that I think they initially were looking at, the one that cost like 25 grand.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, Paxton has been using social media a lot to talk about their drone usage, and they mostly use Mavic Minis, also from DJI, the same company. Those Mavic Minis are specifically designed at 249 grams, so that you don't have to file a flight plan with the FAA when you put it in the air.
Hold on.
What's going on here?
I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Bergman flew out of his seat.
First of all, I want to thank my colleagues on this Public Safety Committee who had numerous meetings on this issue and tried to come together on some of the concerns that people had, making sure that folks understood. I think
we're not getting live comments on the Facebook anymore.
The staff,
Oh yeah, Trev, can you
Deputy
click
Chief and
that?
his staff, thank them for all the efforts they put in. And I also want to thank my colleagues for the questions and concerns that they brought to light.
Great job,
So that we
Matt.
could have a conversation, so that we could be
Good
clear
job, Matthew.
and upfront about what was happening and what wasn't happening. And so I think it's really important that we realize that rather than just pick on one group, we're not.
We're picking on everybody.
Ensuring that everyone is out of harm's way. So I really want to say that I appreciate everybody's perspective. Some of it was based on
But I'm gonna ignore it.
information that isn't part of this. And
What information that isn't part of this?
blew up, and it didn't need to. But I wanted
Hey.
to just say that it's inclusive.
For when you watch
is
this later,
everyone.
know that
And
this
not
is
just
the
go
issue
after it. It's not
that
true.
made you
So I
lose your
think the
race.
Deputy Chief did a great job highlighting all the
Because
things
any-
that
Somebody tell her that.
in agreement with the ACLU and all those concerns. So
The ACLU called in today to tell them that they are not in agreement with you, that they think your policy sucks. How can you say you're in agreement with the ACLU when they called into your city council meeting?
and I hope that my colleagues will support this.
Kate, we're going to destroy your political career.
Oh, here's Rivera. Let's see if she decides to
Nope.
use any of that political
not only
capital she's
the
built.
Public safety
Nope.
meetings, but upon this council.
The only thing, the only way to save this
investing,
is
I
for
think,
somebody to
Councilor Haji
hold
who
it.
has to kind of
At
do
least
some of the
kick it
providers
down the road a
that
little bit longer.
serve
I hope two does that.
unhoused. And that was done through our commissioner, and I think
Or kick it to the Human Rights Commission that they've asked for.
Plugged away and went through it well.
She's going to support it.
I think we've had some good conversations in public safety. But I do want to clarify that being privy to several conversations, I think what's on paper is not getting really translated well. And sometimes there's been some kind of back and forth and misunderstanding. So, for example, today, wife probably unintended when asked, I mean, I wanted to try to see if I can find the live recording. But when the chief and I did talk with him about this.
Find a live recording?
Said, you know, if in a neighborhood meeting, to my understanding, some to the effect of the neighborhood meeting, someone mentions, you know, that they feel like there's an encampment, that they'll go out. That was what I think triggered even more the concern about this evening. So I think many of us who were kind of very much at ease about that, we hear that, then we think, okay, we know what's kind of on paper, we've heard the discussion, but then this gets said today, and that sets off a trigger. So I want people to understand why, and so there's been kind of some conversation back and forth like that. I think, like what Councilor Russell mentioned, and that, and Councilor Haji, and I believe that that's what's causing the confusion.
It's not confusion. We're being
definitely
lied
to support this. If we can figure out and have, you know, finally get into a, you know, really full communication where we're all on the same page and delivering the same message. And what happens is that we're not. And I think through the chair to the manager, we would, you know, we've had this, I was having this conversation with previous city manager.
These are in fact words, she's saying.
A little bit of back, unintended, not back and forth because it's negative, but then it's just that I think things are said. It's not I understand the explanation that Deputy Chief gave, but when the Chief Sergeant said it, it comes off with, if we get a complaint, so to speak, and I'll go back to kind of get the recording, that somebody in a neighborhood meeting, then we're going to go in and see the encampment. That is then, even for me, that threw me a little bit for a loop, because that's not really just what the policy is saying. It doesn't matter if there's someone in danger. It doesn't matter if you're housed or unhoused.
They're not in danger. You're not rescuing them.
No, she's saying that example he was giving of the fire is wrong.
Matter, and I think,
Oh,
and I
okay.
think the community has proven that, right? That's, I think we celebrate that with the Worcester 6. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're in danger, and I think that's what is in the policy, and that was the wording that was agreed upon when we actually all met, and then we're back here again. My question, through the chair to the city manager, there was a request to have the chief meet with the ACLU, that meeting occurred, because after today's testimonial, it almost seems confusing, as if maybe that meeting didn't happen, or that conversation.
I got a good feeling.
My understanding is I don't think that has happened.
Yeah.
They did, though, however, like Deputy Chief just mentioned, tried to take a lot of the conversations.
Kid picked a great week to start this job, huh?
By ACLU, whether it's nationally or locally.
It's just very funny how like they were so deferential to Ed, and they're just like talking down to him so much. They're putting him on the spot so badly.
Yeah, and so I think what I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, is to request to send this, to hold it and send it to the administration for a week.
Thank you, sir.
I think we need to have these conversations, right? I understand.
Dude, that's awesome. This might not work.
Meetings, I pass it here, but then we get here tonight, and it's hard to support something when then words are said that then get people uneasy.
But they still have to vote. If they're holding it, they still have to vote to hold it.
I don't think they actually do.
Oh, they don't? Okay, I'm confused. What's the difference between tabling, underprivileged, and holding?
Kate's starting to lose it. She's going to be panic knitting within the minute.
I supported it coming into council, but I also had conversations to request.
Oh, we might get a fucking we actually, there's a lane here to get a W on this one.
Assistant City Manager Valentine, and I know that these conversations were to be had, and I think this is important, and I think in the end it's going to be something that's a worthwhile tool that we can use.
So Rivera actually put two interesting things on the plate here. The chief said he met with the ACLU and then didn't. And that he said something at a neighborhood watch meeting about using the drone to go check out a homeless encampment.
No, I think she's referring to the earlier meeting. Somebody asked if in a neighborhood watch meeting somebody said there's a homeless encampment.
Oh, okay. So the chief definitely said something this afternoon that another comment. Yeah.
For just a week, send it to the administration, where the administration can.
Dude, Paul Saucier legitimately almost gave me a fucking just ruined my mind with how
in the following week and see where
how dishonest it is.
Like I said, I'd like to be able
to
support this, but
he's fucking Kate Toomey.
It is our job to
make
sure that
we said it.
Yeah,
it's not Chief Sergeant.
Sorry, Chief Sergeant. Your boy.
Assistant City Manager, former City Manager at Augustus was clear about the violence he would bring forth to council, and I appreciate that you, as a current assistant, through the chair to the assistant city, to the acting city manager, is willing to continue to have these conversations and willing to make sure that the public and community is included. So I would ask that through the chair that you.
Yeah, they're going to unchain one of the unhoused people in the
and I think
basement
if
of the
we
police station
have
for
these
her.
conversations, I think we're all going to be good in the long run. But we
Oh,
all
no,
have to
those are
try
for
to
Mo Bergman to eat.
read the policy.
Kate's going to go down there and be like, take her out of the cage. I want her to fight back this time.
Know what we're doing, and everyone stay on message of what the policy is saying, and not be able to come back and say it's this or that. But I want to say it's not just community coming in and saying it's this or that. It's what's been also kind of some of the mixed messaging, unintended consequence, I believe, but it's still very confusing. So if through the chairman, if we can hold it and send it to the administration,
Wow. The police aren't going to get away with just saying whatever they fuck they want.
This is the city council equivalent of bitch. Can you read?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just have a couple questions.
This is great.
To the chair, to the deputy chief, please.
Get back up there, you screamy little to me fucker.
To the chair, to deputy chief. It's my understanding, and just correct me if I'm wrong, that
Leading
we've
the
been
witness.
using
You are.
drones for a while to help aid us in different things throughout the city. Is that correct?
This is the same
Through the chair
argument.
of
she used
council,
last
that's
week.
correct.
So how long do you think we've been using the drones?
I know of 3 instances within the last year where they've been used. Prior to that, I'm not sure because I'm not in charge of detectives where they may use it as far as an evidence seeking tool.
So, to the best of your knowledge, through the chair, have we had any complaints?
It's Kate.
using the
No, I
drones
mean
in the
Donna
city?
Gloria.
Any,
Come on.
You know.
Come on. Come
Through the chair of
on.
council, that's a negative.
Okay,
Come
so
on.
we've been using, just let me see if I get this right, because with all the noise and confusion, I just want to make sure that I'm
My
understanding.
brain is fuzzy.
We haven't used a drone 3 times. We're not allowed to fly them. If we bring someone else, another community's drones in, or the state police, they're in charge of the drone.
Yes.
The only difference is we're using somebody else's policy. Is that correct?
Oh
That's not
God,
our
she's
policy.
so bad at even just articulating her own argument.
Policy?
It's crazy.
Through the chair of council, whomever we ask for assistance in utilizing their equipment.
That's awesome.
Even the microphone's scared of him.
That's right.
Through the chair of the council.
Stop resisting.
The machines are rising up against him.
It's their policy. We have no say on it.
So you're asking us, you want to buy a drone,
Pay
we're already
on
using
him.
somebody else's, and you're establishing and writing our own city policy. And from what I've gathered and what I've read, the policy
Even Nico
has
had to
taken
leave
a
the
lot
room.
of the different, opinions and the different agencies into an account to develop this policy. It's just not some standardized policy. You just
Through the chair of the council, this policy is based on the International Association of Chiefs of Police. It's based on SEMLEC, Central Mass Law Enforcement Council. It's also based on the Massachusetts State Police, all of whom have had a drone program for a long time. And we utilized best practices what they already hashed out to incorporate that into our policy.
okay. So that I just want to make that clear because you would think that we haven't used the drones, and you would think that we weren't
We
using
haven't.
policy.
We've asked people to use their drone.
So this is just about bringing the drone in-house. We've got the money, and that's what you want to do, correct?
Through the chair of council, and that is correct. And not only
I
that,
completely agree,
the
Saint
average response
Opossums.
time is roughly an hour to
Which
enable.
Which could be, through the chair, I'm sorry, which could be, I didn't mean to interrupt, could be a life or death situation. Am I correct on that?
Through the chair of the council, that's correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman.
What a terrible line of argument.
All right, I will be brief
Just
since
pathetic.
the item was held. From what I gathered from hearing from the public and my constituents is that, I think there are still some concerns about the policy, especially still on council. I would hope that we can take out and put in a clause on unhoused folks. But, I would like to just put in 2 motions. I would like to request the city manager, request the WPD chief to work with the ACLU. I know the ACLU called in today, and so I could give you his contact info to really have a meeting with him. I know that, you did your best to adopt the policy to the concerns, but I think, having a meeting, as Councilor Rivera mentioned, would be actually super helpful. And so I would like to put in that. And then my other thing, I know Councilor King actually requested a report on the usage of drones in the past, how often we use it. And so I would like to put in a motion to request city manager report quarterly usage of drones to the city council and the public. Thank you.
Okay. And we have Council. I think, Mr. Manager, you were gonna. What you say?
So I know that many folks are interested probably in the same thing. And I want to honor Councilor Russell's motion and also Councilor Sarai Rivera, who basically they want a further explanation. They want a tighter memo to explain exactly what the purpose of this is and what it intended to be, and to clarify any confusion that there is right now in the, potentially within the council floor or
I'll take
in
the
the
fucking
community.
policy.
Happy to come back with
prevent you from doing the thing you say you're not going to do. It's a very fucking simple thing.
I also want
I'll do it for you right now. Head over to Google Docs.
Given to us and provided to us last week, Friday of last week. So we're in hopes that we will meet with them. We'll get their feedback. We'll provide the policy and we'll work through that. But I think the police department has done everything on their part to ensure that
Oh,
they
buddy.
provide.
He is not prepared for this fucking job.
No, he's not.
Discussions,
or at least not for this topic.
as detailed as possible.
Even his pocket square has gone into hiding.
That we also need to understand is that the
It's not a
references
split
that
record,
the
Eric.
chief just made to the state, to the national, to all these organizations, they've all also been part of the ACLU review process. And so the policy that he's providing here to us,
The ACLU called
policy
in
that I think has gone through
earlier.
Essentially told you to fucking.
Identified five
forward with a
distinct problems with the police department's policy.
clarify any language or confusion that folks may
Very
have.
simple ones to understand if you have read the policy.
Everybody's question.
They were too
This
busy
was him
swooning over some
going,
guy from New Hampshire.
There's issues. I don't know how to deal with this yet. Let's talk.
My understanding.
Granted, it is his first meeting, so.
Brian, I was just thinking the exact same thing. That we need to, as soon as he puts the hand on the hip, then it's all fucking over for him.
This department is telling us, and who may not. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can get a resolution where everybody believes that they're on the same page. But I've been around long enough to kind of read between the lines. I think there are some people that are sincerely concerned about the language. I'm not dismissing that in any way, but I also think there's a certain level of distrust that no matter how clear that language is going to be, isn't going to change any of that. I will say that I
wonder why you say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, right.
Populations, because they are certainly vulnerable. But I would like to say that I feel that there are other populations that are equally vulnerable that maybe haven't been spoken about enough.
Landlords,
opportunity to use a drone.
realtors.
There are children that go missing
City
all
councilors.
the time. A drone can help do that. There are elderly that go missing all the time. A drone can help do that. There are fires where it's unclear which access door to enter or not enter from, and a drone can help that too. Somehow we've gone on the path, I think, of talking about one group without talking about other groups. And I
Because you
think
bitches
that's
brought it up.
Lying about it.
excluded, or perhaps the story.
Because that's where the cops keep lying.
Big mistake to exclude other groups that are equally vulnerable, like children.
Those we don't have a problem with them using it for.
Navigating where they're going, or may have other people.
Someone living in the woods because they have no other choice. It's not the same thing as a child lost in the fucking woods. Why is this a hard concept for you to wrap your goddamn fucking head around? You are rescuing one person. You are evicting the other person.
Definition. I would just simply say,
God damn
I'm not the only
People
one
are all
who was a
fucking
family
so
member
stupid.
with Alzheimer's. I would have wished for the day, when my dad would go wandering off, and the police would have to come try to find him, and I'd have to worry about whether or not he took a wrong turn and fell into Elm Park, and we never see him again. That there would have been a drone that could have helped.
I mean,
him.
it's
Because
fucking
every day,
4 inches deep,
elderly
dude.
people go missing in similar circumstances.
Well, no, there's a part of it
Sometimes
that's
it's
deeper than
freezing
that,
cold,
but
and you worry about them dying because of the elements. So there are other vulnerable groups, and for those people, this isn't a toy. This is
You can drown in a
technology
puddle.
that's life-saving. So I understand the need to pool all the different groups that are vulnerable and try to come up with a decision that protects everybody. But I'd like to talk about the fact that even though the homeless certainly is a vulnerable group, there are certainly many other vulnerable groups as well. We hear from those people as well. It's been a somewhat one-sided conversation insofar as the fact that those groups haven't really expressed themselves. I want to express myself for them. I know some of my colleagues do too, because what I hear in the coffee shops and the crime watch groups is not that, the homeless are going to be picked on, but rather this is a great opportunity to help people in all communities and all segments of society. Let me just say one other thing too, which I don't want to be misinterpreted. I certainly respect the fact that everybody has civil liberties. Doesn't matter whether you have a roof over your head or you're in an unfortunate position where at the moment you don't. But we asked for a legal opinion on this. And what did the law department say? Law department says that there was no cases that say that you have a constitutional right to privacy when you're outside and there's a drone overhead. That applies to all of us, whether we're homeless or not homeless. The ACLU talking about civil rights, all that matters. And I'm not here to say it doesn't, but at the end of the day,
Tell me you don't care about civil liberties without telling me you don't care about civil liberties.
You're right. It certainly matters, but does it?
I'm not here to tell you have to agree with it.
If they wanted rights, they should be inside.
A legal opinion that said
Me,
you don't
in a
have
coffee shop.
constitutional right to be
They want rights. They want rights. They should be in their cars, driving around, doing cocaine.
I know we've gone long about this. It's an important topic. I'm not dismissing the fact that we've talked a lot about it.
Doing cocaine in a parody way for humor purposes. Doing cocaine in your car in a parody way for humor purposes while attending a city council meeting.
The law department has expressed their opinion, whether you accept it or not, that there is no constitutional right to not be looked upon by a drone, at least under the law. Having said that, we have cameras at traffic stops, and we have other situations where I haven't heard the amount of discussion and concern that I have over the drones.
So, I want to hear Kate to me just like scream like Chewbacca at one of these.
We understand that those technologies exist, and we don't have constitutional protection for those rights. And perhaps
look at her, she's stewing. She is
make sure that we understand that in this particular case, nobody has said that there's a constitutional right to be protected from drones. Having said that, I hope we can have a conversation.
As a lawyer, what he just said was immensely stupid. The reason we don't hear complaints about traffic lights is because that we have state protections to ensure that they're not used for surveillance purposes.
Right, yeah.
We had clear language. It says, yeah, we're not going to use those to issue traffic tickets unobserved.
There were no exigent circumstances allowing people to access that footage whenever they wanted.
That we have, which probably will not be a unified or a strong support in one direction or another. But I certainly urge my colleagues to support this. I think all the communities are vulnerable that I mentioned, and I think this drone.
But there's no specific language saying that we're going to track every child just in case they get in trouble. If there was, then guess what? We'd have a fucking problem with that too, you dumb shit.
I certainly understand, again, people wanting to make sure that the ACLU is communicated with. But again, I want to reiterate that, as the deputy chief said, every single one of their written concerns was met and addressed.
No.
And so,
yes,
you
just called in and said it wasn't.
But that phone call can happen. We could pass this, and the phone call would still happen.
Oh,
and I think that's something that
okay, fuck off.
I get it. I understand.
Oh my God.
But as the assistant city manager said, we
pass
got the
the room.
information Friday.
Then we'll
Today's
do whatever you want after. Just pass
still have that conversation.
The weird thing now is that Deputy Chief Saucier said at last week's public safety meeting that they still haven't made a decision onto what they're going to purchase, but for some reason there's this giant rush to pass this as soon as humanly possible.
Right. The grant funding runs out in October.
Another week where people are going to have agita over things that were real or not real. And
oh my God! Can you hear that, everybody?
So,
well, she did pronounce agina wrong, right? So I mean, I'll give her credit for that.
He to me is fucking uniquely.
Yeah, I just want to mention. I still really feel.
Why would we change our minds? Because they might be mad about things that aren't real.
I think the administration would agree that there's some conversations that need to happen. And this isn't about again. I've been part of the conversation.
I'm sorry, your voice is still gone,
all the
Jack.
good that this drone can do.
That convention was way too loud to hear anyone talk.
Happy to support it after having brought here to conversation for council and to go in council, but then you
I
know,
would
I provided
encourage everybody to
names.
send K2 an
Certain
email
meetings haven't
or a
happened,
tweet
certain things have
or
been said,
a
and that
note on her
then
Etsy store
kind of
saying that your concerns are legitimate and real. Just so she
I'm
knows.
happy that I'm pleasantly surprised that
again,
Rivera
we wanna make
and
sure that
Russell
we're a city that
both
feels
pointed
as though
out
we've been open by the
that they've
right?
said very
And
contradictory.
and I think
Yeah.
we're gonna have good conversations. I don't think this is gonna be a difficult thing. I don't think it's gonna be a back and forth. I don't think it's. I'm feeling very hopeful and positive.
sure
I
about
think
that?
everyone just needs to be on the same page. So I
I
want
gotta
to make
I'm
sure
not.
that
with all the
I'm
meetings.
not positive about that one bit.
you know, it's
Honestly.
one group. It's not that. It's not about
Sure
one
about
group
that?
over
What's going to
another. It's
happen?
the fact that initially when this was
Jack,
first
I have
presented,
transcripts of almost
then being
all of the
clarified
most
in many aspects,
recent
so
meetings.
things
If you
to
want
come
access
back,
to the spreadsheet,
is
just
that
let me
it's
know.
presented as if one group was
That
going
goes
to
for
be
anyone.
targeted.
Yeah.
Just different.
Very useful
Support
stuff.
and target are two different
I
things.
put one in about
Every
the
someone is targeting.
the
What we wanna do
517
is make
finance
sure
committee
that
where Sergeant said that they're going to use drones for the homeless.
safety issue for anyone,
Um,
elder,
Yeah, I hadn't
child,
gotten
housed,
the more
unhoused,
recent
wherever that
ones
is,
in
and
there
the
yet.
subcommittee meeting.
and the
So those
safety
are
net,
in
and
there.
really
Yeah.
be able to highlight the good things that are in this draft and the policy that puts out. And actually, much of it is very consistent, as was stated here, with the ACLU policy. I think that's going to be a good winning conversation. So I think it's important that the conversations that
The
we're actually
ACLU
gonna have,
called
that
in
haven't happened, that we have it.
at
to
the beginning
come
of the
here
meeting. Might I
again,
remind you for the fifth
to
time?
feel like
And said that this
we are
policy
in,
was
we are able to have
very
this
lacking
open
in
style government,
significant
and that
ways.
we are actually working
Yeah,
collectively together.
they
And
encouraged
I
the
think
city
right now,
council
if
to
we
not
push
approve the
it
drone
through,
at all.
we're not going to have.
That is in fact exactly what they said. After the police said last week, just last week, that they worked with the ACLU to craft this policy.
Get it going collectively, not only as a council, but with community and the administration.
I do agree on the just
Thank
vote
you.
already.
So we're going
Because
to
it's
hold
being sent back to
11B
the
and 17A
administration.
through E till next week. And this
What
will
about
have
the
a final
motions?
vote next week. It would surprise me if we had 11.
The Rivera held it.
On this.
Oh, that was all of the
Planning
drone
board has
items.
committed to
Okay.
meet with the
I thought he was
ACLU
talking about the rest of the agenda.
in that week. And Chief, I want to say you did a good job explaining exactly what the policy is. And
Fuck off, dude.
So I think we're both there. I agree with Councilor Rivera that I think we're over the finish line here. So we're going to take a vote next week, no matter where we stand on this issue. So the Councilor Rivera has held 11B and 17A through E. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I was actually in the middle of the roll call for 11A. Are you still want to roll call 11A?
What was 11A was
The Committee of Public Health, the
we can do it.
resolution.
Yep, we can do a roll call 11A.
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should just keep voting.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes.
It's like I don't think we have a vote to.
Councilor Nguyen?
Yes.
I love that he was just on record saying that the deputy chief did a great job explaining the policy when the deputy chief was
Before we go
fucking
to ordinance,
Yelling.
So we can do the
Yelling.
want to do the chairman's orders. Anybody have any issues? We're doing chairman, so the chief and deputy chief and the commissioner can go if they want. So to skip over orders, we'll go.
No, they don't need a vote to hold it because this is the first time it's come back from subcommittee, and it's technically a different.
I love
item.
I love Cipro's comment up there about 20 people showed up to 4 citywide meetings on body cameras. They were at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And they were like 3 days out from when they announced them. And I didn't even know where they were. And I was trying to figure it out. Like,
I mean, if you don't want
you had hundreds of people call in. Like, which one is more important? Oh, the one that agrees with you? Weird.
Yeah, right. Oh, man.
Okay, let's do that. Let's send that to MO. Those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Next is
move back to-
Transportation 2020 yearly operational plan.
What happened to Sue's order on trans rights?
They haven't taken it up yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's after this whole.
That's at the end. That's 20
in the 20s.
16 A's motions to accept. Those in
20
favor, opposed, so ordered. We are on 18A through 18F. Motions that ordained on the roll call. Roll call.
Councilor Bergman?
Yes.
Councilor Calorio?
Yes.
Councilor G.A.?
Yes.
Councilor Merrill Carlson? Councilor Nguyen?
Yes.
Councilor Rivera? Counselor Russell,
Yes.
Counselor Toomey,
Yes.
and Mayor Petty.
Yes, 19A and 19C, motion is
Wait,
down.
did they skip all of 12?
Roll call.
Counselor Bergman,
Yes.
Counselor Caloria, Counselor Haji,
Yes.
Counselor Merrill Carlson, Counselor Nguyen,
Yes.
Counselor Rivera, Counselor Russell,
Yes.
Counselor Toomey,
Yes.
Of course it
and Mayor
is.
Petty.
Yes. So we did, let's see here. 28, 20B, motions to hold. Need a roll call on that? Roll call.
Counselor Bergman,
Yes.
Counselor Caloria,
I figured those were going to get held.
Counselor
Could you
Haji,
repeat the items
that-
again?
20, I was told at the beginning of the
A and
meeting,
B.
the motion for 20A and 20B was to hold. That was announced. And we need a roll call on that, so. Okay, we have Councilor Merrill Carlson held those items early tonight?
Just A and B.
A and B, yeah. All set, Councilor Nguyen, or?
Okay.
Counselor Bergman,
Apologize. Which item, Mr. Chairman?
20A and 20B?
So this is a motion to hold, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Counselor Caloria, Counselor Haji,
No.
Counselor King is not here, Counselor Merrill Carlson, Counselor Nguyen,
No.
Counselor Rivera, Counselor Russell,
Yes.
Counselor Toomey,
Yes.
and Mayor Petty.
Yes. Okay. Next item is City Council with a report detailing the status of completing improvements and/or creation of a master plan for Chandler Hill Park. Councilor Merrill Carlson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is, it's interesting. A lot of folks don't understand where Chandler Hill is, but it's part of East Park in between Bell Hill. There's a whole section up there of parkland, and a lot of folks from the Eastern Ave, Bell Hill area, along with East Park, have asking what is it that we've done for this area over here. And quite frankly, I took a walk and a tour up there. So really what I'm looking for from the administration is, let's see, do we have a master plan for the Chandler Hill area? Thank you.
All set? Okay, those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Next is resolution of Council Nguyen that the State Council City of Worcester does hereby call upon the Great and General Court, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, with other states in the passage of the so-called sanctuary laws to ensure that trans individuals and their families have the power of enjoying in safety and tranquility their natural rights and the blessings of life as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Council Nguyen.
Can we do that item with item 12F for the
Hang on.
orders?
Oh, you have to be refiled that? That's all,
Yeah.
So 12F, the City Mayor City Council organized a flag raising in honor and recognition of the June as Pride Month and its intersectional history in the Stonewall riots led to the LGBTQIA activists, Marsha Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who took these to the streets, demonstrated against police raids and demanded that the right to live openly and to queer liberation. Further request the use of updated inclusive pride flag, which includes black, brown, and
Which the
trans
city already
communities as a
has.
reminder of an ongoing commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. See attached. Comes to the win.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. I am so proud of the LGBTQIA community in Worcester. And I am, as many folks shared earlier, is very disappointed that, the resolution was held for 2 weeks. And it was to uplift
Did
the
Donna
trans
leave the room?
community and young folks. And
Did
it's
she?
so
Yeah.
important that,
I don't think she's there.
school committee member Tracy Novak mentioned during a time like now that we as a
She went to go make sure the
make a
bathrooms are
statement,
still gendered in the
that
building.
really supports our young folks and our trans community. This resolution was in collaboration with school committee member Tracy, as well as it's an effort through many cities in Massachusetts actually to really pass this. And even our very own school committee school committee, as Sue Mailman mentioned, has passed it unanimously. And so this is a basic human rights resolution. And so I really struggle. I really struggle as a person
About
who's
12
non-binary to have it be held by my own colleagues, as if I'm standing here with y'all, not deserving of the rights. That's so
Yours.
hurtful, and also just so hurtful for so many people in our city, for our constituents that we represent. And so, I hope tonight, as we get to vote on it, that we pass it, and we fully support it. And so, the resolution, as I mentioned, is a basic human rights resolution that ensures trans individuals and their families have the power of enjoying in safety and tranquility their natural rights and the blessings of life. This is life-saving. Representation is life-saving, and our resolution and what the messages we send to our constituents is life-saving. And as for the flag raising, as we all know, June is Pride Month, and often we know this month as very celebratory. And I think it's time that, we're not just about symbolism, that us as a city of Worcester really raise to the occasion and update the flag, one, to include
already has
brown
been.
and Black communities, often
The HRC
excluded when we think about
used it
Pride.
a
And
couple
we
weeks
once
back.
again include trans folks into our Pride. This
Related
is so
to the
important,
nativity
and
school.
more importantly, that we remember the origins of Pride, the history, and that we uplift our queer ancestors, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who were queer and trans as well, and that it's an intersectional issue. They were queer and trans fighting for queer liberation against police raids, and this matters. Our history matters, and I hope that we don't just put rainbows across the city when we think about Pride, but that we think about the origins and we uplift everyone in the LGBTQIA community. Thank you, and I hope everyone supports this.
Thank you. The only thing on your order is we usually do it for some reason in September we raise the flag. So the organization usually comes in. For some reason we don't do it in June. So maybe we'll talk about it over next week and see. We can pass it, but
what?
Worcester celebrates Pride Month in the fall when colleges
No,
get
I
buses.
know that, but like,
yeah, 50% to over 100%.
Just do it twice. Just fucking do it twice. you can just do it. You can just do it twice, dude. Come on.
You do it all the time. Just leave the flag out. Yeah.
Just do it fucking twice. Just
you
do
get
it.
3 poles out there.
We can talk about what we usually do.
I'm glad I hadn't taken a sip yet. I would have spat it at the screen.
Come on, dude, Joe, dude.
He just doesn't get it.
He
doesn't get it.
Item in,
Come on,
especially to be able to really acknowledge
Oh,
the role
ooh, look, a big pile of shit. I'm gonna step in it.
and trans, which took a whole other feel. And I remember also, during the time of working during the HIV epidemic, how often this was really life-saving. Not only were they brutalized outside for being different, but also the fact of ousted by their own community because they were trans, because they were Black and brown, and having to find their own space. Then also just being deprived of life-saving medication because they were either trans or Black and brown. And I think that I agree with what Councilor Jen stated. It has to be more than that we rock a rainbow and looks really nice.
How long have you lived in Worcester? You can't say
how I
when.
feel in February when everybody's in a kumbaya, and then sometimes like
At least say
hit by
when.
a policy that's completely
That's not even a good
against
pronunciation.
anything MLK or anybody in the Black community really stands for. We have to kind of get out of this kind of like feel good symbolism, and actually when we actually implement concrete policy, that's when we honor those that have fought. And this is not about what people agree or not. This is about human dignity, human rights, regardless of what comes before me. And I always say, not to get too preachy because it's not Sunday, but when the parable of the Good Samaritan, he wasn't asked, like, where are you from, what class, what do you believe in, or anything. It was about going and helping someone who was beaten and bruised in an area, and hopefully we can take a step further to be able to go back and change policy that on that Jericho Road, no one.
In honor of
should get
Pride
away
Month, I
with
bought
it.
some Birkenstocks.
So
Check them
I think
out.
This is about humanity, and I really, it's just about more than feel good. So I really want to just appreciate Council Media not only to bring the issue up from the queer and LGBT community, but also really addressing the trans community and especially the Black and Brown
I'm gonna
community.
start tagging Quentin Tarantino and all Soraya Rivera's feet pics on
being
Instagram.
tested in many ways.
Councilor Russell?
Mr. Chairman, I rise to ask to sign on to this item. And I would, I mean, as a counselor, I've been here now for about 10 years, and I can remember going to many of the events years ago when I was first elected, whether they be house parties or events out here in the Common.
Russell, come out of the closet right now, challenge.
LBGQ, I always goof up the letters. Somebody will get me in trouble for the letters, but when they
Someone's
have
gonna
it
get me in
private-
trouble.
Someone's gonna get me in trouble for letters. Well, I don't know, all the ABCs.
all of us,
It's
because we want to be part of it, part of the equation. and
If he
we
says
wanna be,
Hunty,
active
then
and
we know
helpful in
that
any way we can.
it truly is
And
pride.
it's a record that I've had in the 10 years that I've been on
Gays.
council.
I'm George
And
Russell.
anytime I've been there, and anytime my assistance has been requested, I've been there. And I know the same can be said for many.
I mean,
that's so
it
good.
does get confusing for people who aren't used to all the letters.
Then just say the queer community, maybe.
Yeah,
Try that on for size.
My name's George Russell. I only recently learned how to read about 5-6 years ago.
Listen, I think the drone should have a rainbow flag attached to it.
And I think we, Mr. Manager, I think we're gonna have to get an updated flag. The flag's changed, and so for either this month or September, depending. We'll talk about when we want to do it. And so on the resolution,
I think the order says now during worldwide agreed upon pride.
Councilor
Do
Caloria.
a second one if we want, but we should also be,
Councilor King.
joining the
Councilor
world.
Carlson. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Rivera.
So Donna
Councilor
left
Rhodes,
for this, just to
Councilor
be clear.
Russell.
Yes.
Councilor
So
Tierney.
she didn't vote.
Mayor Petty.
Nope.
Yes. Next.
She abstained and absentee.
Same management for information to the concern and update regarding shot spoiler.
What a garbage human.
What a coward.
Safety.
She knows she can't stand up there and oppose it, but she knows that she can't get away with not opposing it to all the little fucking chud army that keeps her barely hanging on.
To be hereby amended to take effect at the next regular.
She'd hear about it at the coffee shop.
No speaker for more than 20 minutes on the finance committee meetings. After
Which
being
there's only one
recognized
more
by the
of.
chair, not to speak more than 10 minutes.
Wait, are we just not going to talk about the shot spoiler report at all?
20 minutes total in any agenda item or a group of count items taken
Did they
collectively.
skip the item?
Chair may grant additional time to any of the council with comments.
Yeah.
Same individual.
Yeah.
He just read it.
Unusual amount of time. The chair shall make note of the time each member is to recognize. Whenever any member substantially exceeds 10 minutes during their first.
What about the
time
rental
speaking on an item,
registry?
the chair may rule the member is being allocated their second 10 minutes. When the,
I think he
member
skipped those
is being
two.
deemed to have
He said it out loud, but they didn't talk about it, which is weird.
Okay. So, Councilor Russell.
Mr. Chairman, I think you just broke the rule just by reading the item. I think you might have went too far. Mr. Chairman, if I would move to file this item. I think it's, as much as any of us.
Everyone should definitely call Donna and ask for her opinion.
I just think it should be filed. If it's not filed, I will
Express
make a
regret that she
second
wasn't there for the vote because you'd love to hear what she has to say
the Rules Committee,
about
municipal
those items.
operations, which is part of the Rules Committee now, like we do any other rule change for review.
Okay.
Well, my
Councilor-
first motion would be to file.
Councilor Bergman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll defer to the proponents, but I do want to speak.
And that's her
Councilor
coming
Tilly.
back.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as author of it,
Yep.
was actually very similar to one that you had filed last year.
Donna just she didn't vote for it. She left the room. She left the room, so she didn't have to vote on it.
The administration.
Yeah, her seat was empty. She sits right next to two.
More concise in our questions and how we ask, and certainly the.
So a little background on this. K-Toomey filed this because Christian King took too long, in her opinion, actually probing the police department's budget. And he was maybe the only city councilor that actually did talk about the budget with the cops. So
by one call. And I think that we're just trying to.
He did a good job.
Yeah, it just took longer than 20 minutes.
That's the problem for her.
An important thing for us to do. And frankly, I was going to ask that we just voted on the floor so that we could move forward. And I hope that people understand there's no ill will or ill intent, but it's just a matter of common courtesy for each other and for the departments. We have that rule here on the council, and I think it makes sense to do it on the finance committee. Thank you.
So we first motion is to file. You want me? Councilor Bergman first, then Councilor Rivera.
Just really quick, I would support my colleague Councilor Russell's motion to file. I mean, granted, I know it's some long hours and, and I agree what we say. I mean, but I think that the budget time is very difficult. It's a very complicated, it's time consuming. We want to make sure it's a big item every year. And I think it's important to be able to ask questions. May not be something I would personally do, but I think it just,
of course you don't personally do that.
I think it's important for council to be able to bring forth, especially if they're asking pertinent questions. I know it's time consuming, but that's kind of, I guess, the name of the game during budget session. We've been here past midnight sometimes, so I think we've had a pretty easy list this year, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so
Mr. Chairman.
Council.
No, Councilor.
I think he's deferring. Go ahead.
I am, because she's a co-sponsor, so certainly.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this isn't a new order. This is one that was I find it interesting because this is one that was in MO previously, and this was something that was.
Is he just holding her hand?
And yeah, the meetings haven't been as
hard to tell, but he is wearing a white band on his Apple Watch to match his suit.
Oh, I think he was waving at a tell.
Because we've now met a couple more times than we generally do. If people are okay with, quite honestly, on one particular department that we can spend an hour and 45 minutes, I'm good with that. Again, this isn't a new item, so this isn't like it came from nowhere. This is something, Mr. Chairman, that
Candy is just
quite frankly
cryptic.
has been going on for
All
a
the
while
time. So
in
cryptic.
terms
I mean,
of
the Parks
budget.
Department was at
I
least
think
45
that what we did
minutes.
This year
Yeah.
by us doing the 4 o'clock, I think works fabulous. And quite frankly, if we need to move it to 3,
I don't have a job, so I'm fine with that.
and we can stay as long as we want. But I think that in fairness to the general public, given the fact that those few weeks, we did not do any council business, which
Let's face it, she's Hydrox.
able to do the budget. But I think we also have to recognize that for 2 weeks, and now we may embark on 3 weeks, that we will not do council business because of the time that it's taken us to do this budget. And I
Isn't the budget like
saying
the
that-
council business?
The budget is council business. The finance committee is the city council.
like I said,
How about you have it on a different night from the
and,
city council meeting
so
and do
if it's
both?
4 o'clock that we meet, or quite frankly, if it's 3, I'm good.
No,
So
no, we're
if
not. We're not going
Mr.
to
Russell would like us
schedule
to
things so they don't conflict, so that you don't have to worry about this.
Okay, so the motion is to file. I'm sorry, Councilor Bergman.
I'm going to say what I'm going to say anyways. It sounds like there may not be unanimity.
The
on,
shadow of that
on
tree in the
voting
background is
for
just
those,
fantastic.
that
Just
have already
wiggling.
spoken, But I actually go along with Councilor Toomey's suggestion, and I'll suggest why. It's been my experience, and others may disagree. If you can't get out in 20 minutes what you want to ask, you're probably not going to get it out in 30 minutes. Plus, you always have the opportunity to bypass the rule.
I live in D2. I could run against her. I'm not going to, but I could.
We're changing your name to Abolish Tea Police.
So I think
and
Abolish Tea Police.
limitations on us when we're on the floor of the council.
Call me Abe.
Items that are every bit and arguably potentially more important at times than finance items, although they're very important. I'm not diminishing them. I just think 20 minutes is plenty of time, particularly where you can give somebody additional time on those circumstances where it's warranted. I do think we do slightly do a disservice when we're not able to take up council items because of the length of the budget meetings. We go weeks without taking up those items, and then we bunch them all on a combined agenda. And let's be honest, we're all human beings. We try to rush through those agendas.
So what Councilor Bergman is saying, if the police can't justify their rationale for owning a drone in under 20 minutes, they should not have a drone.
Yeah.
Manage your calendars. So I think it's a cleaner, more public-friendly system when we have more time on our hands each week. And I think limiting it to 20 minutes with the understanding that there may be occasions where you waive that time restriction at your discretion is fair. That's just
Trying to prevent a black man from asking the police good questions.
Passionate about this. It is what it is. And whichever
Oh, look,
direction
so look.
it goes in, but I do think it has merit.
So the first motion, Councilor Nguyen.
I just wanted to raise maybe another option if we want to send it to MOs for a rule change, if that's what people want. Yeah.
MO's a second. Okay, we have 3 votes there. First one is to file. If that fails, second motion is to send the MO. If that fails, then the next one is to vote it up or down. Okay. So the first motion is to file. Okay, that takes precedent under the rules. So it's either yes is to file or no is not to file. Okay, roll call.
Councilor Bergman?
No.
Councilor Calorio? Councilor Haji?
Yes.
Councilor King? Councilor Merrill Carlson? Councilor Nguyen?
What was the thing again? Sorry.
To file.
5. So many options.
Is Calorio gone again?
Yes.
She never came back.
Oh,
That was Nicole. That was Nicole Valentine who
Oh,
walked in
yeah.
briefly and left.
Councilor Toomey?
And now
No.
Candy's gone again.
She's back in the corner talking to the cops.
Next is sent to committee. Roll call.
Don't worry, guys. I won't let anyone talk to you.
Councilor Bergman?
No.
Councilor Calorio? Councilor Haji?
Yes.
Councilor King? Councilor Merrill Carlson? Councilor Nguyen?
Yes.
Councilor Rivera? Councilor Rose? Councilor Russell?
Yes.
Councilor Toomey?
No.
And Mayor Petty?
No.
Motion
Next
fails.
item is to up or down. Yes is to pass. No is not.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, you need 2/3 votes to pass it? So.
So it would
It
fail.
doesn't have to hold it.
Oh, it fails.
It fails. No?
Okay.
It would fail.
It's almost like a file.
No, it fails.
Two-thirds.
Great job, Kate.
Yeah, you fucking idiot. You should have voted to file it.
Everybody has to vote yes. Okay. No, everybody has to pass this. Everybody will have to vote yes.
we
It's
don't
8.
have
I think it's 8, right?
Yeah, 2/3.
So you need.
We're
8
going to
votes
see a
pass it.
reconsideration in a second.
Thanks, Donna.
Bergman.
Mr. Chairman,
There you
just
go,
a
Jack.
point of clarification. All the years I've been on the council, I thought I understood the 2/3 rule. But now there's a little wrinkle because I didn't anticipate that applies. So through the chair, so we all know, particularly myself, why does that come into play on this motion?
Not a bad
You
question.
mean what the 2/3 represent, or why is it 2/3?
Why is it 2/3?
Oh,
This falls
through the-
under the rules. Go ahead.
So through the chair to the council, so basically, I think amendment of the rules, Rule 57 states that the order shall be amended or repealed unless 2/3 of all members of the city council consent to thereto.
And that's an amendment to the rules of the city council? Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
So the motion is either to pass, which is a yes vote, or
That's hilarious.
to say no is a no vote. So, Councilmember Carlson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just for point of clarification, is it 2/3 of who's in the?
No, this is 2/3 of what I've gone through this before. It's 2/3 of the 11, regardless.
Regardless of
Yep.
whether, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if there's only 7 people here, you couldn't pass. You wouldn't be able to have a vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, roll call. Roll call.
Council Bergman,
Yes.
Council Calorio, Council Agia,
No.
This is a very, very, very good comment.
Council Merrill Carlson,
Yes.
Council Nguyen,
No.
Council Rivera, Council Rose, Council Russell,
No.
Council Toomey,
Yes.
and Mayor Petty.
Yes. So the motion fails. And the item's filed.
Well, Russell voted no on it just because.
Figure that one out.
Petty. God damn it. I love that guy. He's such a silly little guy.
He just is a silly man. That's how can you not love him?
He's a silly guy, dude.
Back on orders.
Oh, we're going to orders now?
When was that? I got him. First one, requested city manager requests Commissioner of Public Works and Parks.
No, you don't get to change it.
The
He
dangerous
said
issue
his colleagues sucked him.
by motorists continuing to drive the wrong way down a one-way. Was that? Was it Ariel Street? I can't see it. Was it?
Airlie
Street. Council.
I don't know, whatever, whichever way you want to say it. The point is it's spelled correctly. But the reality of it is this has been going on for quite some time, that people are driving down the wrong way. And it
happens on Lovell too.
So we really need to.
That one stretch between May and Chandler is just a mess.
Head-on accident. So pretty much take care of that ASAP. Thank you.
Next is by Councilor King. See, he didn't ask the whole.
How long have these people been in Worcester and they don't know Airlie Street?
Are we approving that?
What's that?
Are we voting on it?
Yeah, he can ask for reconsideration. You want to call him tomorrow? You can ask for reconsideration if you didn't want to go through. Okay, request the manager provide council the report identifying standard operating procedures for the inspection and complaint responses to the following section: 236 communities, housing authorities, state-owned properties, and municipal properties. For request of city manager including said report, education strategies related to the same. I suppose we should hold it. I'm sure he wants to speak. So next is 12C, request the city manager and all appropriate public safety departments review information regarding the new RAND toolkit, which helps guide efforts to prevent mass attacks. And please see the following. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The
This is
interesting
wild.
thing about this plan is this toolkit is that it's inclusive of the community. So it's law enforcement and the community working together to prevent attacks. So the beginning part of it is building a prevention team.
Hey, Toomey runs for mayor. I'm going to run for mayor on a platform of
fostering a prevention mindset. And
If she runs for mayor, you should change your name to Kathleen Toomey.
prevention framework.
Someone
Mayor-
told at
Mayor
the
Kathleen Toomey.
convention told me I should run for at large and mayor.
Responsibility.
I'm just like, I don't have that bankroll yet.
Prevention warning signs are often observable.
It's a
Active
$60,000
information
race
sharing,
minimum.
Threat assessment, model, team and process.
Unless you say a bunch of wild shit
Going
that
in
the
the
Telegram is like
doing
dutifully
information skills,
required to
follow-up,
report on.
mitigation,
Like
and
Trump kind of
support
strategy.
plans.
Yeah, the Telegram doesn't like me though. They're too conservative.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Mental health,
Yeah,
private sector.
that's why if you run something like
and
abolish the police,
deterring
then they'll have to write about you.
Awareness, community
Free-
responsibility,
free-
again,
it's free real estate.
Training,
It's free real estate.
and then initial detection. Threat
I'm
assessment,
waiting to
follow-up
see
action,
where all of the
and,
district stuff
comprehensive
ends up
leadership
lying before I
accountability
decide if and
policies.
where
And
or
then
when
there's,
I would run
the
again.
element of the prevention
Yeah.
team with the tools and resources.
It's just too much up in the air still.
To help build that. So you've got law enforcement networks, you have infrastructure, and the private sector compliance with privacy.
But she's definitely going to run,
requirements,
Mayor.
Especially with HIPAA.
Especially
all
with
be,
the
a bunch of them are.
We should all be thanking Kate for reminding us that the Rand Corporation still exists. I thought they folded up back in the mid-90s.
School resources,
Well.
information sharing, behavioral analysis and threat assessment, healthcare, mental health is included. And then there's case examples, there's deterring attacks, initial
spammer.
detection, threat assessment, and following
Nice.
up actions, and putting it together. This is an
Wow.
incredibly
Wait,
comprehensive
Travis,
kit. I think
check
would be
that out.
beneficial for our community.
Let's
To
buy some viewers.
go through and participate in,
Mountviewers.com.
especially in with all of the things that have been happening.
It sounds
throughout
kinda
our
dirty.
country. Some really untenable.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do.
events that one can't even fathom the impact on, and so is.
It's a ripoff. That's a
not
John
just
Flagg
the law enforcement,
joke.
It's up to all of us.
He says, I hate the band Imagine Dragons because don't tell me what to do.
This and
That's a good joke.
I love that joke.
Good tool. So I hope my colleagues support this.
Senator Mandra, all those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Councilor, when you want to do the two items together or just separately?
Well, you just got to mount your viewers,
They
Saints.
work with the police chief to create a report of instances known as uses of rohypnol, also known as roofies, and the date rape drug, including but not limited to the number of incidents, locations, and current practice and approaches to handling the criminal offense. Customer manager work with the chief development officer to shift culture, regulations, and practices around safety regarding businesses and uses of drugs on premises, particularly rohypnol, and also known as roofies, in the date rape drug.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. This was a hard order to put on because it's such an unfortunate reality that we are facing, that folks have faced it. So it's been known more on the ground that people are being roofied as they go out at night, and that's deeply concerning. This is a criminal offense, but more importantly, I think people should be able to enjoy their night out or just being out and about without this a fear of being assaulted and drugged. And so I think all of us on council could agree with that. I think we need to really shift culture. This is something to me that is so serious and so severe, and that I would like to see, the city manager work with WPD to get a report on.
I would definitely pay money to hear Joe try and pronounce rohypnol for a half hour.
Really learning the approaches in which because I think
just nobody Worcester. It came up in Worcester Eats related to whiskey on water and Lock 50. People saying that they were getting roofied thereby potentially their bartenders or servers because the drink went directly bartender server to them and they got roofied.
Yeah, that's my
the really interesting thing, and I don't want to diminish anything that Councilor Nguyen is discussing, but out in Boston, everything is indicating that it's not rohypnol, but it's actually fentanyl that's being used, and it isn't being used for purposes of sexual assault like the 90s, but for robbery. That it's people who are pulling up to bars and restaurants in really nice cars, wearing like lots of expensive jewelry and whatnot, who are being robbed, male and female.
Those in favor, opposed, so
interesting.
ordered. Next, request from Standing Command of Public Works conduct a meeting with the.
But yes, it has been happening at a
Works.
large number of
What
venues in
policy
Worcester
exists
pretty
in writing
consistently.
Which mandates any construction work completed by utility companies on C Street does not deteriorate. Councilor Russell. Next one too with it. Public Works conduct a meeting with the representatives from the utility companies servicing the city and the Commissioner of Public Works and Parks regarding damages done to the streets that are not repaired in a way to hold up over time.
The most fucking brazen thing, now that I'm just thinking about it, Paul Saucer did tonight was he went through the search and rescue thing and just passed over the bit about using it in conjunction with the quality of life task force. Dude, I love like the three-dimensional Russell thing we get with the TV in the background. It's so funny.
I was just laughing at that.
Infinity Russell.
The multiverse of badness.
Yeah.
Just on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next items are from Council Rose. These are all crosswalk, speeding, and speed bumps.
Yeah, there's been a couple people I've seen posted on Facebook about it, specifically happening to them. That
so it's like 12.
When it comes that quickly, even though anecdotally it becomes it's scary.
Horrifying. Discussion from Spectrum relates to strategy available to reducing the waiting time for customers returning equipment at Spectrum locations. Councilor Bergman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Somebody had contacted me and told me they had difficulty returning a piece of equipment. It was somebody that had a marginal income, wanted to return their equipment to get on a better plan. They told me that the wait was just beyond reasonable. So I volunteered to go with this person because I figured the best way I'd learn about this would be to be there. And we went to the Grafton Street location. And when we came in, we were told the wait would be 20 minutes and there would be a text message in approximately 18 minutes to let us know. And actually an hour and a half later, the person came up to us and said, it should be any minute now. And then I said, well, maybe we could reschedule because I really can't stay much longer. Is there a way to do that? Oh, yes, there is. You have to do it on a computer, though. So I said, well, can I do it here? No, you have to go home and reschedule. So I wound up waiting probably 2.5 hours to help this person out. At the end of the day, I wasn't the only person.
There's no news in Worcester, though.
I understand it's a private
and the
company,
Boston
but
stations
there is
don't
some
have really much presence here either.
Because we do have a contract with Spectrum, and it would seem to me that they could do a much better job. This isn't the first time I've heard this, and maybe my colleagues have heard this as well. Seems to me you shouldn't have to wait 2 hours plus to return equipment to be able to save a few dollars off your bill. It should be a lot easier than that, or at the very least, you should be able to schedule or reschedule once you're there if it's taking longer than they promised. So I know it's kind of an uphill battle. I know our acting city manager probably has very limited resources as far as how to negotiate anything better for us, but I'm just asking that he try. Thank you.
We have a cable commission. That's their only job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
if anyone checks their charter bill and Spectrum bill and sees a $20 fee for grandfathered equipment, you have to exchange your equipment because you've had it from when they were chartered. They're charging you $20 a month for having old equipment.
And I certainly don't have anything against them getting additional revenue for people that don't usually live here. However, I do think there may be an issue. I've heard anecdotally from several participants at various colleges and universities that there was a lot of tickets given out. And I just think, Mr. Chairman, that it's one thing to collect revenue. It's another thing to represent our city in the highest possible light. I know when I go to graduation events in other communities, oftentimes it's difficult to find parking, particularly if you're not from that community, so you don't know where the parking is or isn't. Sometimes there isn't even paid parking available, so you really have no option other than to take a chance. And I don't think the last impression we want to give people when they're leaving Worcester is a parking ticket, especially when we're asking them to remember their
It is the most Worcester thing ever, though.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, was there an inordinate amount of tickets given out on the various graduation days? And if there were, perhaps we could.
I'm not even sure they have 6 reporters at the Telegram anymore.
I would like to think we could do a much better job leaving a positive impression of Worcester by kind of being relaxed on that particular day, unless it's a public safety issue, than being overly aggressive. Thank you.
Okay, so send that to the manager. All those in favor, opposed, so awarded. Okay, Councilor Russell. You want to do the next two or just separate them? Councilor. Okay, provide the council with a detailed report as to all funds, including federal funds, providing to or designated
That's an interesting item.
Massachusetts and/or the Chamber of Commerce, as well as said funds that spent on or plan to be spent on. And request the city manager provide council to report detailed the report as to all funds, including federal funds, provided to the designated for the Worcester Regional Food Hub and/or the Chamber of Commerce, as well as what said funds are spent on, to plan on to be spent on. Councilor Russell.
Mr. Chairman, and yes, I did use control copy on those and just filled in the name of the agency. Mr. Chairman, what I'm going to do with these two items is I'm going to hold them.
Space Russell, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional Russell.
We have a full council here and we're
They can't provide anything until we pass this. You can ask for the next council meeting if you want to amend it. Or they can't come back with a report unless we pass this.
I'm not necessarily looking for the full detailed report, but I thought I'd give them a moment to be able to be responsive to it. If you'd like me to send it to the administration with the request that it comes back for the next meeting, I'll be happy to do that. But
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, in short, we're gonna send it there, I'll talk about it then. In short, during the budget session, I was looking at the budget and I noticed missing the destination Central Mass money, the $500,000 that we've discussed.
Discover Central Mass?
So I started asking questions about where that was.
That's why he couldn't find it. He did. I did Control F, discover destination.
No, he knows Control C. I don't know if he knows Control F.
There's no way.
To be utilized to have $1.5 million for a 3-year commitment of $500,000 a year.
Yeah, he's still got to go to the menu for it.
And I have asked in previous.
Imagine George Russell is just like Mr. Magooing his way into like a major investment scandal.
Where is it spent all on Worcester tourism, or is it spent on tourism for Sturbridge? Is it spent on tourism for Auburn and all the other communities? That kind of stuff. I want
Auburn, the community famously famous for their tourism revenue.
I'm disappointed. And I was under the assumption that you couldn't use opera money to replace things that were in the budget. But all of a sudden, when I ask questions about it, it's like, oh, don't worry about it. We used opera money to replace this $500,000 expenditure that we're using.
I love the closed captions way of figuring out ARPA because it's different every time.
Opera, Food Hub, which I'm sure does
Apple just now.
Things for the region and
I'd like to see 90% of Discover Central Mass's budget reallocated to Gardner's giant chair.
And shame on me as a counselor, because when I saw the announcements for that, I just kind of took for granted it was to help out with some of the food pantries and some of that, getting fresh products to those pantries and that kind of thing, without looking at the details of what this organization does.
This is actually mildly interesting. In that he could just be stumbling upon like fucking something sketchy going on with Discovery.
$1 million to the
an organization which does not.
Goes to,
That's just it, though. They still have no plans to spend any of this money, and this money has a deadline on it.
If we're gonna put in $1 million into this food hub, I want to know what Worcester businesses are profiting from it, what Worcester residents are profiting from it, and why that money was committed across the board. Mr. Chairman, I'm here
to ask these
questions of mine.
I'm glad he's asking this.
Involved with other agencies that are talking about applying for opera money, that are being told to get in line and put all kinds of applications and details into a process, but yet they tell me and they ask me, and I don't have an answer for them, Mr. Chairman, why the Food Hub, which is, I believe, affiliated with the chamber, received $1 million grant from the ARPA money. So, Mr. Chairman, I will send it to the administration with your, as you recommended, and I'm asking for a report sometime soon. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these organizations or with the process or with the chamber that takes part in it. But, Mr. Chairman, when there's $2.5 million of opera money committed to these two organizations, I think that this council and this community deserves to get details of where they are. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So,
I really wish we would do what Cambridge did, giving $500 a month to folks making 200% or less of poverty line.
Send that to
for 18 months.
administration for a report back.
Very simple way to spend that money.
So ordered. Last but not least, request the manager work with the Commissioner of Public Works and Parks to install a bronze plaque honoring General Joshua Pickett, who led the Worcester County-based regiment in the Civil War and later became the city's postmaster. Said plaque should be prominently displayed in Pickett Park.
Pickett Park.
In Pickett Park.
Pikachu.
Councilor Candy Merrill Carlson, and I just recently read a book about the Civil War. I learned that there was this guy from Worcester who was in the Civil War, and I'm thinking, why aren't we having plaques and statues of this guy who was in the Civil War?
Well, he's got a park, but the park got renamed after a business.
To
Yeah.
open up what I call
That's great.
Wait,
Plaza,
which
then
business is it?
I have no idea.
Rockland
Trust.
Rockland Trust.
That's what we call a public-private
now
partnership.
one
We
of
love
the
our business community. We love to partner with our business
this
community.
plaza. But I think we made
She was in favor of it because she thought it was the other picket. Yeah,
not
in Civil War. She's like,
having
okay, here we
a
go.
plaque there for the good general Josiah Pickett.
The good general.
To be clear, everybody, this is not the Pickett's charge guy.
Yeah. Something that said the hero Worcester.
Which is confusing because our General Pickett doesn't have a Wikipedia page. The other one does.
Right. Yeah, right. Now so I'm just in a full story on him.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Pickett Plaza. So, Mr. Chairman, I
Oh,
know,
right.
you
It's
and
the
I
new
had
war
spoken
side.
about this, and I think that
No,
it's the city to construct a new war side right in front of war side.
The old dive bar.
Very skatable water feature.
The old dive bar parking lot, like across the street, that community parking lot, that was General Pickett parking lot. It was
right.
because that's
But,
what you do. You go fight in the Civil War, and Worcester's going to name a mediocre parking lot after you.
do a nice
Yeah, right.
down there at.
But it was nice of them to read the war side over there.
Rockland Trust as well. I think
A very
would
skatable
go a
public
long
feature.
way for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. And I know you talked to the city manager that day, and myself also. I know the current city manager is also working hard on to get this done quickly, and it was a priority after that day. I think we all missed it, and that wasn't done on purpose. It was just one of those oversights, and they've been working on it since. Counselor Russell?
Mr. Chairman, was that through you to the administration? Was that the Rockland Trust? Was that a donation to the city of Worcester?
Yeah.
Or was that something through the Red Sox? Or was it a
Mr.
combination
Manager?
of both?
To the chair, it was a donation to the city of Worcester because that park is the city of Worcester's property.
Okay, so do you remember how much they donated
I
to the city?
don't right now off the top of my head, I don't know the
Well, some
exact amount.
substantial amount, I
Yeah,
presume.
and they're also responsible for contracting kind of event spacing. We work to deal with a contractor to come in through Rockland Trust to provide some event spacing.
And Mr. Chairman, through you, is the plan still to have food venues there or food trucks or food, not trucks, but trucks without the wheels or whatever they were, the trailers?
Yeah, the plan is to have not only food trucks, but also
Oh, they're called
other,
homes.
artisan kind of opportunities for small vendors and the likes, and even music opportunity for as to utilize as a venue. So the contractor
One
that
of the
we
nice
hired
parts of the
will
city
be
council is just the
conducting
various
and managing
different,
those
really dumb ways that people talk.
Thank you. So send that to the manager. And those in favor, opposed, so ordered. That brings us to the end of the meeting.
What?
Motion is to adjourn.
What about the
All those in favor, opposed, ordered. Okay, thank you.
rental registry?
Yeah.
The rental registry got held again, I believe.
I missed that.
I don't remember. Yeah, so Petty did the agenda out of order. And they did all of the
So ShotSpotter and rental registry got held by who? Because they were tabled under privilege by Petty last time.
ShotSpotter, I don't know. I have to go back to that part because he just sort of read the items and then they moved on. They didn't talk about them. And we were talking about something else. So I don't know what happened with those. Both of those are pretty serious deals that should have been more time should have been spent on them.
I'll send a message over to.
So I don't know. The NA, I believe that they did that. The NAGE contract that was probably in a bulk motion. But I'm not positive. Check back up on that with but yeah, that the drone conversation was very interesting tonight in that Russell and Rivera were showing apprehension when I kind of in my mind I was counting them as like just yes votes on the whole thing.
Mhm.
So it's showing that there might actually be a lane to get something done on this. Obviously, we had Paul Saucier maddeningly just fucking lying and distorting as he always does.
Gaslighting was strong.
Oh my god, I was about to go off the ledge with that one. That was really bad. And then I'm gonna after this, I'm gonna go in and see what the police chief said this afternoon about it.
Nice.
Because I've since confirmed that he said something to the effect this afternoon of we're not going to update the policy to put any protections against surveillance on the unhoused, which is in keeping with what Saucier said last week about how they we can't be handcuffed, right? That would be too restrictive of a policy, so. So that's fucking. I mean, I'm gonna have to write about this drone thing for like the 17th fucking time. But I mean, like, it's just such a revealing. Like, I think that it's one of the most revealing instances of the police department not thinking that they're beholden to the city council, and the majority of the city council not wanting to be in a position of power over the police department, and sort of a new push from our more progressive counselors to like actually try to not be so nightmarish about everything. It's very interesting in that regard. And then Donna Colorio just walking out instead of taking the vote on trans rights is amazing. Like what a political genius. Yeah.
To Maine South's point, I think I started mentioning this while they were still discussing. I have a funny feeling we're going to get a lot of drones, and because like this whole conversation is about allocating money that's spent for a drone. But they did say last week in their meeting they haven't decided on what they're buying. If you look at what other communities around us are using, they're using very small consumer drones that don't require FFA approval to throw in the air. They can, so that whole flight plan thing, even if it's in a policy, goes out the window because that's based on it being necessary,
being a requirement, right?
And you could get a dozen of those. Actually, you could probably get closer to 50 of the smaller the DJI minis for the price of one.
They're $399 or something.
Around $300, and you could, and there would still be money left over for them to buy a higher end, like a prosumer DJI model that could still handle a FLIR camera if they wanted something for specialized purposes. So I get a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of drones in the air in the city.
Yeah, I mean, the Boston Globe had a really good story the other week about how Boston just keeps buying drones. Boston police keeps just buying drones, and there's very little. There's very little council oversight on the way that they're being used, and their policy is very similar to Worcester's in that it's not restrictive in any way, and they can just kind of use it in whatever way they feel creative enough to use it.
Yeah,
and that's bad. So
it ain't good.
It ain't good. So it's. I mean, Petty said that next week there's a vote on it either way, and he's an obvious yes, which makes it 5 obvious yeses to my mind. Donna Colorio, Kate Toomey, Kenny Merrill Carlson, Donna Colorio, Kate Toomey, Kenny Merrill Carlson, Joe Petty, and Mo Bergman. That's 5. And then I think you have 3 no votes. And then the 3 people in the middle are Rose, Rivera, and Russell. And Rivera and Russell today were kind of like, hey, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Yeah, Sarai will allow herself to be convinced, but Russell is not afraid to just like vote no on something for the fuck of it. So I think we might see a 6-5 vote either way. Big question now becomes, say the council does vote in opposition to the police acquisition of a drone. Does that mean anything? Does that actually mean anything? Does that stop the purchase? This is like, it's a, I feel like there's a case to be made, but that is going to resist. It's going to require the law department to decide and they're going to side with the police. But that would be a really interesting precedent set here in Worcester, that the city council votes against a drone and the cops still get it. That's amazing. But I don't think we're going to get the no vote. But
because even because the way that it would stop them is that the funding was supposedly contingent on city council approval.
Right.
But they've lied about that a million times. And then also if they
also lied when they requested the funds.
Well, yes, exactly.
right.
If the council votes down the approval for the funding to buy the drone, they'll just find the funds somewhere else.
Right.
So,
well, the funds were already technically approved back in November last year, but the only mention on that order is canine. There's no mention of de-escalation equipment even.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah. Dogs and drones, same things. They both start with D. Right? Yeah. Oh, you know what's interesting? Now you said charter review, St. Possum. They were supposed to be. Where are my notes here? They were supposed to talk about charter review today. Item 13A was a report from the clerk's office on what it would take to do charter change, which is stuff that we already knew, but I don't think they talked about it. I think they just filed it.
So there was actually some issues with that attachment. In terms of public being able to see it. It was in the PDF file, but not in the one with the link to the Laserfiche files. So I don't know if maybe it got held because they might not have had access to the info or something.
I was able to
if it got rolled through really quickly. I don't remember from earlier in the meeting.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't see that happening. They can't even get the cops to be fucking honest with them about spending $25,000. Feels like charter change might be a little bit too hard for them.
That's a lot of work for this crew.
Yeah. I don't even coming to a consensus on these are the aspects of the charter we'd like to change.
Right.
It'll never happen. So I don't know. We're just stuck with this. We're stuck with we can
do it with people power.
Right.
The report does have information in there for us to be able to do it completely without the city council. So
yeah, but it requires
15% of registered voters.
Yeah, that's a lot of signatures.
And that's more people than vote in some precincts.
Yeah.
That's more. Yeah. I mean, 15% of people actually showing up to vote is the norm.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to get every single person who actually votes to sign onto your petition, which is insane. I don't see that happening.
I don't know. I think it's a good bid if we try.
Take a lot of door knocking.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll just stand at the tricentennial parade. Huh?
So yeah, send me a link to the route for that.
There's gonna be thousands of people.
Bryan McKnight, baby, woo!
Oh yeah, start back at 1.
It is certainly going to be dry event. Very dry.
This is awful.
Yeah,
everything about this thing is awful.
Yeah, it's
do you think? I mean, Genuine probably wasn't that much more expensive than Bryan McKnight, right? We could have got Genuine.
McCarthy's trying to book Baja Man at Ralph.
I was going to say, yeah, we know how much the Baja Man cost.
We know how much the Baja Man cost, and they could have certainly gotten the Baja Man, and I think that would be a treat. That would be a delight.
Yeah,
it's been over a decade since I looked, but Weird Al Yankovic used to be $32K. I mean, that's ARPA money.
He's coming to Webster.
I know. I think I'm going to head down for that.
What's a real shame is Saturday's supposed to be rain.
Dang.
Is it really a shame though? I think it's kind of awesome. It's
the only cool. Honestly, the only cool thing about the Tercentennial is the fucking logo that Travis made. It's the only thing I've liked about it so far.
Hey, thanks.
Good job, buddy. Everyone get one of those pins. If you have any left, I would like to buy one.
Yeah, I got a bunch left.
All right.
I mean, I only made 100, but
Everybody, you guys saw Travis's Venmo earlier on the screen. So
DM me. Oh, guys, it's terrible lighting. I'm folding laundry while listening to you guys. DM me on Instagram or Facebook.
Look at those buttes.
Anything. We'll get you money. I hope it doesn't rain. I got money wrapped up in this shit on Saturday.
Well,
and it's supposed to be like mid to late afternoon that it's going to start raining, but it keeps shifting back and forth.
Because of all the shit, because like the parade and stuff, they want us to load in at 8 a.m. for a noon event.
Oh,
so I am certainly not going to be sober. I am going to be finding a place to smoke a lot of weed and come down and enjoy that.
Just go to the alley.
Yeah. I'm just going to walk around the outside of the park. You can't smoke in the park. I got accosted one time by an officer.
Hey, you know how he found you?
The smoke trail, actually.
He had a drone.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done events on the Common where I've had tables before, like the weekday lunch thing on Thursdays.
Oh, out to lunch.
And they wanted me to load in 3 hours before the event. I'm like, you've got freaking 10 tables. You do not need people loading in 3 hours before the event. Yeah. And that's if all 10 show up.
Yeah. That's just so they could find a parking spot right there next to the Common.
There's no rules to name that event Out to Lunch.
I was gonna say, isn't that again the most Worcester thing ever? Like something that's just universally an insult for being like completely out of your gourd. That's the name for our flagship event in Worcester.
Oh, these motherfuckers are out to lunch.
Weekly on Thursdays during the summer.
Out to lunch. Yeah, we're really out to lunch, if you know what I mean.
Oh man! Well,
that was like when we started the public artists working group, and like I was the only person at the time of the Worcester Arts Commission who like pointed out like, do you understand what like the acronym POG stands for in porn slang? And it said this room of like old ladies staring at me who obviously did not, but it's like there are still murals all over the city that just have POG tagged on it. It's like, what's wrong with
the same committee, and it's still called POG, and they still don't know.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That whole council's out to lunch.
The Worcester Food Hub that they were talking about, they are building out 6 commissary kitchen space underneath Union Station. There's been news articles written about it. Like, there's a lot. I think they've been pretty public as to where that money came from and how they're funding it.
They have. It was, I think, Councilor Russell had like his item is split. Like he's bringing that up only because it looks like there is other money that's going to Discover specifically, not the chamber, for that purpose. That it really hasn't been discussed where that funding was going to, and he was just tying them both together because they're under the same umbrella organization, and it looks a little bit sexier to point out the chamber's getting whatever $2.5 million. Without a lot of oversight. I mean, to your point, that's something that the congressman's been talking about for a hell of a long before this funding even became available. That was already a plan.
I mean, he has McGovern's buy-in. He has like lots of big people. And then what it does for Worcester businesses is he's already had 2, he being Sean Rainford, the head of the program, he's had 2 equity in diversity food programs where he's ran a group of people through the food process, gotten them served safe, and now they're able to go out there and even gotten them seed money so that they can invest in their own business and bring their ethnic food to market legally.
Yeah, there's a great like kind of micro path that's forming from them to the new place in Kelly Square, the market. And then people are going from that market to their own storefronts and restaurants.
And Donna Clorio is following them around and complaining about how the food smells.
Yeah, it all smells way too diverse. No, but what's going to come in Union Station, from my understanding, is something similar to the Worcester Public Market, but again, specifically focused on just local foods. And is going to switch out with vendors coming in every week or every month. It's going to provide a lot of opportunity for food entrepreneurs.
It's a whole mentoring program too, isn't it?
Yeah. And we're, as citizens or as just people from the community, we're going to benefit because we're going to get to eat a whole bunch of really delicious food and some weird food and some food we probably haven't heard of before.
Exactly, though, Maine South Mom. That's
I think
that's why he's bringing this up, is because it's money that was earmarked for stuff like food insecurity.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and as we know, there's money enough to go around, so people shouldn't have to be fighting over small scraps when there's plenty of funding that should be available. So
Like, heck, just give like a tenth of that to the Worcester fridges, and they would be like golden for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So invest it all in banana stands.
What?
Invest it all in banana stands.
There's always money in the banana
Yeah,
stand.
there's always money in the banana stands.
Well, I think this is a great place to leave it for tonight. Great job, everybody. Yenny, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me.
Let's make this a regular thing. How about
Sure.
Everybody this weekend, brave the insane crowds down at the downtown to pick up one of Travis's pins.
The parade. Go see the parade. There's these huge mannequins that people are actually.
Mairead, friend of the show, Mairead Connolly is going to be skating in the parade. So Mairead at the parade, that's fun. You should go check that out.
There's an economic development meeting tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Nice. Check that out, everybody. Follow us on Instagram. You guys know where to find us. Let us know what you're looking to see next week, and make sure that you're subscribed to Bill's Substack, billshaner.substack.com. You guys know the deal. Make sure that you're also subscribed, or instead subscribe to the Patreon, so that you also get his podcast, WGBH, Worcester's Good But Hurts. It's the best. I love it. 508, a show about WorcesterPieandCoffee.org. Brendan, when's the next episode coming out?
2024.
Check out my podcast, Parts Unknown, wrestling podcast. Guys, I'm not actually supposed to say this until tomorrow. Hold on. I'm going to talk about Parts Unknown for a second. We just had our biggest interview that we've done yet for the show. Guy Branham, who is a very famous comedian and podcaster and writer and producer. He's amazing. We talked to him last night for a little over an hour, and it was awesome. We're talking about Pride all month as it pertains to wrestling. All the kind of issues and things that come about it. Fandom, Will, my co-host, is a gay man. His kind of coming up as a wrestling fan throughout his life, and it's going to be a great series of episodes. But tomorrow, Guy Branham is going to be on. This is very big for us, so please subscribe to it and listen to it. We're very, very proud of it. So check it out. Make sure that you are tuned in on Monday for Celtic Time. Do we got it up?
No.
All right. Well, then subscribe.
But it's
subscribe to the podcast feed.
Yeah, we have Ariel, the Worcester Youth Poet Laureate episode coming out this week, and then next week we talk to candidate for Senator Robin Kennedy.
There you go. Scored a big endorsement. So make sure you guys check all that out. Make sure that you're buying Craft Tea Kombucha. We are brought to you, as always, by Matt, the only ethical consumption under capitalism. Make sure that you're going down to your stores, and if they don't have Craft Tea Kombucha there, then table it under privilege, and you know what that means. You want to Jack Murray that store. Wink, wink for humor. Anyway, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you next Tuesday. Right? There's a meeting next Tuesday. Yes, of course. Yeah, we'll find out. Thank you all.
Although I think is it the last week for?
I don't really care. We'll figure it out. Follow our Instagram. Bye, everybody. We love you.